tomorrow it will have been a year since we first embarked on this crazy endeavor to just talk absolute crap on the internet with our friends, run some games that we were going to run anyway, but record them or stream them live, continue the discussions about our most and least favorite, but usually our most favorite crowdfunded games on Kickstarter and now GameFound, etc. And I've just got to say thank you so much, everyone that's helped us along the way. I know many of you have already liked and subscribed and throw a couple of pennies here and there to Patreon, and for that I'm incredibly grateful. Makes me feel like what we're doing is enjoyed, and really that's all we wanted to do, was give back. So happy birthday to us. Thank you for joining. And with the greatest of heartfelt endeavors, let's do the thing. Welcome to the Dark Orb. We're having a party! Hooray!
Hey!
So anyone who doesn't know, basically what I said for this episode, that there are quite a few things on crowdfunding at the moment, and a lot of it is either going to do really, really well, or is 5th edition and going to do really well, but I don't really want to talk about it, basically. So I thought let's just have some fun. Tomorrow, as I said, if you're watching live, is basically our first birthday. And if you want to go back and look in our archives, you can see the very first, what we called game chat back then, with my good friend Paul and I. Paul's spending a lot more time on wargaming at the moment, so we don't see very much of him, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point. Did invite him. Unfortunately, he's driving to Wales right now, so he couldn't join us. However, if you are in our Discord, the link for this show, this live show, is actually in our Discord right now, and you can join. Please do. Let's have some fun. With me today is Yoel.
Hi.
Andy, aka XAS.
Hello.
And Bruce, aka Sanjuro Takage.
Yeah.
And we all have drinks of some description, even if Andy's on the Pepsi Max. This is rum, as is this. And I will have to water it down. I'll have to lemonade it down a little bit, or I will be completely blotto. But I thought, yeah, let's have some fun. How is everyone?
Not so bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's been the end. Right, see you all.
Yeah, we're all good.
Goodness me. It's been a long week. It really has. There have been some really interesting things to happen. Gaming wise, I'm probably not going to. Well, we'll see. We probably will end up looking at some Kickstarters, some crowdfunding stuff. But there's been some really nice things to have appeared. So Humble Bundle have got a huge bundle of Warhammer fantasy role-playing things. I think it's like £25, $25, one or the other, probably dollars, because it's Humble Bundle we're looking at. Gets you about 9 million different books, more than one could ever read in a single hour. That's really cool. What else? Oh, let's think. Did anyone get anything in the post this week that's relevant? I'm not talking about bills and,
Oh, I did.
Court orders.
Hang on. I'll have to mute and go over and get it because I forgot about this bit.
Yep.
Get it.
Shall we? Shall we?
Do it. Oh, hang on.
Not the special one. But
no, I was actually disappointed with what they did with the special one. I'm kind of glad I didn't go for it because.
But yeah, I've not really had a chance because it arrived. Pretty much the postman had to put it under my mat, so I had to remember not to step on the mat when I got home from work.
Yeah. Let's talk about what that is in just a second. But we have another entrant to the birthday party. My good friend Matthias. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining, Matthias.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hey.
What the fuck are you
super.
eating?
This it's ice cream or I don't know
I-
what you call it, but
yeah,
I mean it's a
but it's like-
birthday party, isn't it? So
I should have had jelly and ice cream. You're right. That's a complete
it's called the Piggelin. This one in Swedish.
Okay.
So it's rödvin and Piggelin, and it's the best combo in the world. So
I think I'm gonna
especially
have
at
to,
parties.
As a
I'm gonna have
Swede,
to
I've
come
never
over and-
heard about that combo. I've heard of the two parties individually, but never heard about the combination.
You have to try it. It's amazing combo.
So what flavor is this ice cream? Is it like a milk
It's like
flavor?
tutti frutti, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but a little more of the green flavors than the tropical
Yeah.
fruit flavors. It's a very
Maybe.
good
Maybe.
hard
I'm loving the
icicle.
sound of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had just before we came on air. First of all, nearly didn't make it. I had some amazing technical problems, which managed to overcome with about a minute and a half to spare. But secondly, my lovely other half said, "Here, have a cookie," and this is a chocolate and cherry cookie, and I ate it, and the whole thing stuck to my teeth. I'm like, "Oh, wow." That was tasty. And now we have no cookies left, other than, of course.
Oh, the best. The Swedish pepparkaka from New York. Yeah. It's just south of here where I live. We had snow today in celebration of the Dark Orb's 1 year anniversary. Oh, beautiful.
I've been going through this.
And
quite
in
quickly.
Bruce looks like,
What the fuck are those?
what?
So these are like
It's gingerbread.
It's like, this will sound really profane to anyone who doesn't understand,
Oh.
doesn't know British cookies, but like ginger nuts. But instead of being really crunchy, they're just, I don't know, there's something about them. They're really thin and melt in the mouth.
Yeah, you should try dipping them in coffee. Just,
Oh, I have.
yeah, okay.
Man, I mean, I've gone through about half of this tin in what, 2 weeks? And it's basically me and Erin, which means it's basically me. My diet is going so well. What did you
Phil, did you say
during
2
lockdown?
weeks?
Yeah.
Those are rookie numbers.
Huh?
For this one, those are rookie numbers. This one is probably out in 2 days, and then
Yeah,
I
I mean,
finish it in 3 days by myself.
This is 900 grams of cookies.
So,
And I do have this thing called work, which I try and not eat on. I'm fortunate in that my day job, I spend most of my time on Zoom, and I don't like to eat on Zoom. At least not when you're pretending to be a professional. So. Oh, goodness me. We've got a whole bunch of comments. I need to catch up. Okay. Hey, Neil. Very good to see you, Jason. Neil, unfortunately, couldn't join us tonight as he's not very well. But I'm really pleased that you could catch us live anyway and throw some comments at us. Mohammed, really good to see you. Martin, also, really, really nice to see you. Richard Coulthard, thank you very much for happy anniversary. And kudos to Andy and the McVitie's massive. McVitie's being one of our
Hey,
big branders in the big brands of cookies in the UK. Oh, goodness me, what a week. I need to start drinking. So, Bruce, can I trouble you to tell us all about the LP record that you've received? You're muted, by the way. So, yes.
Yeah, you're going to ask me to explain, which I haven't even had the chance to.
Well, just go back to your memory of what we spent money on in the Kickstarter.
Yeah, so this was another Mörkborg. I'm never going to get it right. Morky Borky. That's
Morky
it.
Borky.
I'm afraid.
That's what
I'm
Johan
afraid
Moore
that's
calls
what-
it, so that's fine.
So this is the first from Exalted Funeral. I think there's
And
also
Gambling.
Heretic coming soon,
Yes, there is.
which is their LP with the music, and it's not just an adventure. It's actually a little bit of an extended world from what I've gathered reading through a bit more in the swamp that extends. Yeah,
I
you've
thought
got
you
a
were
bit
going to
of a
say
swamp.
extended warranty. Then I got really confused.
I'm afraid not.
Still
You know,
true.
I'm afraid, as they say, you will burn the book once. If you complete it, we will not
This
get
is true.
another world.
This is true.
Uh,
I really do like Mörkborg. Has anyone else on the panel? Has anyone else played it?
I own it. I haven't played it.
Matthias looks like maybe he might have done, but I think Matthias has met Johan before as well, so maybe once.
Yo ho.
And a bottle of rum.
Yeah. yeah.
Half a
I've
bottle of
heard of the guy at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he draws things.
Yeah, and that's true.
Occasionally. I actually
Anyway,
really
is
like
it any good, that the LP adventure? That one I haven't seen, actually. I must say. So
you're not really one for sitting on Kickstarter, are you? You tend to not spend too much time on there, I don't think.
No, I don't. I try to live off nerdery, so I don't have time and money to support other nerds.
Yeah, it doesn't pay well, I don't think, being a professional nerd. It's all right. Yeah, so
I got this for free from. Is he here tonight, Paul Baldowski? You get stuff sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes he
from other nerds.
So yeah, I need to hook you up with some Dark Orb nerdery, don't I?
Oh yeah.
See what I can do. I'll send you one of my t-shirts. It doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, but today is all about Dark Orb, isn't it? What has been the highlight of the year?
It's been good fun.
Highlights, I should say, because otherwise, people might get offended. Like,
yeah.
The Book of Bees was the highlight of the year, I think.
Yeah, when we were talking about the Book of Beasts for Forbidden Lands, and we all misunderstood Doug when he said Book of Bees, and so we spent about 2 months just saying the Book of Bees for everything. That was pretty cool.
Poor dog.
Making fun of the American. Very mature, guys.
Where is
very
Doug?
mature?
Yeah, trust the non-Brit to complain about us making fun of people.
I can be British if I want.
Talking of Paul Badowski, I can show you something.
Badowski, whatever.
I can be
cover that bit up. That's the book. Ooh, there we go. Paul Badowski. And also my name on it as well. So I'm plugging my own book. Go buy. No, so I got this in the post this week, which I was rather.
That's very cool. Actually, I don't think I got anything game related. I got some coffee beans today. That's nice.
I also got a piano hinge in the post today, but that's got nothing to do with gaming.
Just the one.
Just the one. Yeah.
I spent money on gaming today due to Bruce.
Yes, this is true. And Chris.
Yes. So I bought the Gaslands PDF, and yes, I've ordered the modding kits from my local game shop as well.
We need to get you painting. I think
I can't do that.
No, I know that. I know you feel that way. But there are some very simple, and I mean genuinely simple, things that you can do with minis or with models that will immediately improve upon unpainted, but take zero talent. And I don't mean a little bit of talent. I mean 0 talent. And
so one of those would be putting it in the drawer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a vast improvement on having it out.
Like just doing some zenithal priming, just painting the whole thing black, getting a white can, painting it white from the top, and then just putting some ink on it. Just one layer of ink on it will just do wonders. It's very inexpensive, very simple to do. Doesn't require any ability. But I know with Gaslands, they're already made up because you just use toy cards.
If I take this one, painted like this already, and just add the weapons, that ought to do. So yeah, my son got this one today with 49 other Hot Wheels. He won't notice if this one goes missing.
Except if he's listening to you right now. How's his English?
Better than expected, but he's asleep. He just turned 6.
So, I mean, Matthias, you had a really good question, actually. What have been the highlights? I'm actually just looking through our video history. We're now, as of today, at 173 subscribers. Thank you very much, everyone who's who signed up, who's prepared to listen to the crap that we talk about on a regular basis. I really enjoyed some of the games that we've got on. So Andy, you ran the desanction for us. That was great. Yoel, you helped us with one of 2 games that we've done so far that are not available in English. And so we had Buck Hexon, which was amazing. And also we've played Mutant, but it's not Mutant Year Zero. We've played Mutant Hindenburg, but it wasn't Mutant Hindenburg, was it? You're going to make me say it, aren't you, and get it completely wrong. So was it Mutant Unterjungens Tagere?
Almost. You didn't make it as good as last time.
Well, it's been a while.
But that's my game.
Yeah.
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 So we played...
You play the Undergångens Arvtagare?
Yeah, we're playing
that's cool.
Vidregenbogens Slut.
Ah, at the end of the rainbow. But you actually said that perfectly.
It's practice, and I'm not practicing.
Oh, so. Cool. Tijuana and you know, the helkväll at Thermopolium and other nice scenes.
Yeah, so
we're
playing this.
Very yet,
back unfortunately, yeah, we're still playing it. Our GM Kjetil, who's a wonderful GM, but stuck in some stupid place in Norway with no internet. So we've had, I think, have we had 3 sessions or just 2? Just 2. They're on the stream. They've been great fun. So Matthias, obviously you've not had a chance to catch up on this, but I'm loving it. So Yoel's playing amazing character. He's like an ex-military commander. I'm playing a sniper, but he's a lynx, and he's called Ragmunk.
Okay, why not? Have you met Hermelin yet?
No.
No. Okay. So
we're role playing, so we're probably getting very slow.
Yeah, but it's not a very long adventure, as I remember.
Challenge accepted. I mean, so far it's taken us 6 months
for 2 sessions.
Well, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
but that's due to Kjetil's crappy internet that went even more crappy and kind of now is dead.
There's the man who's from the goblin cave behind him.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some horrible technical issues with the line itself. But that has been amazing. Obviously, we've had a few Merkbody games as well. They've been really good fun. We've had some really wonderful guests over the last year. Let me think. So we've had Paul Bardowski, had Paul Catt. So 2 Pauls. We've had who have we had? We've had Anna Urbanek. Still butchered that pronunciation. I'm really sorry, Anna, if you're watching. Urbanek. There we go. I remember now. Author of the Herbalist's Primer, which is an amazing looking book. I can't wait to get that. We've had the whole team for Kinless, which is that solo Merkbori Viking adventure. And there was this other guy, Matthias Jonsson-Hawker, who
that asshole.
Yeah,
it's just, I met him once.
It's just so tall. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. And he likes hockey too.
I
heard that his favorite team is losing tonight, so that's why he's here.
Oh,
not here. Yeah, he's here.
Your local team.
He's here. It's me.
NHL.
No, we're talking the Swedish second series. Yeah. So it's the local team, Björklöven, the Birch Leaves.
The Birch Leaves, yeah. I mean, if I was able to get hold of those games, I'd be supporting those guys as well. But I can't. And of course, who else? Drew Gasker joined us. Eric Alsandor joined us. It's been really nice. I've probably missed someone off. I'm sorry if I have. I'm already drinking. Fed from Nibiru as well, and Dave and Stugoff as well.
And Eric's been playing with us as well.
Eric has. Yes, he
Yeah.
has. We've recorded City of Mist. Well, once we finish that session, I'll start editing it. We've recorded Cult, and that starts Cult's Divinity Lost. We finished recording that. It's a real slog getting the audio editing done because we're adding some really fun effects in the background, which hopefully adds a bit of ambiance. But that starts on Monday. It goes live on Monday with our episodic adventures. We can do one every day leading up to Halloween. And that's it's going to be really fun. 7 episodes. And I realized that because I've already scheduled this, I'm actually going to miss the airing of the first episode because we've got tickets for Dune. So I feel really, really bad about that. But I don't think I can check in from the cinema whilst it's airing.
Do you need to check out those tickets and go to the movie? I mean, I don't think there's any law regarding, doing other stuff besides seeing Dune.
You know the law of Erin?
The law of Erin. Erin is the
okay. The law
Erin is the mind killer.
Okay, but did Erin know that the movie is not necessarily super good?
That's fighting words, my friend.
Have
you seen it already, or are you refusing?
Yeah, I'm not saying that I have. I'm not saying that I haven't, but I might have, and I might have heard that it just might be. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you can spend an afternoon or evening. I'm just saying, just so you know.
And the point is that, I mean,
spoilers
our
for
cult.
That.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I have read the book. Yeah, I have read the book more than once. Hi, by the way, to Eric and Raul Nash as well. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I mean, the Cult Divinity Lost Gallery of Souls we did by Magnus Theatre and then rewritten by Petter Nalo. I think it was a really fun interpretation. I think there are places when the pacing kind of sped up and slowed down.
When you said interpretation, I was thinking interpretive dance for some
that's how we did it.
It's not
we did Cult as a
exactly
medium
how
of
we did it.
interpretive dance.
I know Petter very well. He lives in the same town as me in the very north of Sweden. And his interpretive dancing is something to behold, I can tell you. When he gets the Cult on, you better stand aside and just, try to clap in
time.
In the rhythm.
I mean, luckily you're a drummer, so that's easy for you. But now I have a problem because I'm imagining you and Petter and the entourage, or the in the Cult circle, basically doing modern dance with a bit of breakbeat every now and then. With the cowl and
that's a problem. Why would that be a problem? I don't understand.
I'm not going to sleep now.
Sometimes you make no sense at all. I'm muting myself.
Matthias, Brits, they can't handle the Swedes.
We can't handle the truth. We can't handle that's what we can't handle.
We're not ready.
The southern Swedes can't handle that either, so.
No, you really can't.
No.
Someday I will teach you, Phil, and maybe we can have a half an hour to an hour on the Dark Orb, just teaching people to say.
Yeah, I think that'd be
because
great.
you didn't nail it. You didn't.
No, I didn't. I didn't. No,
Neither
I don't use that word, but I've seen it and heard it used. Yeah. I've seen it. I started up north. When I say up north, I mean Sundsvall. But from a Stockholm's perspective, that's up north. I've seen a guy order a burger menu at the burger joint using only number 43, and then for the entire conversation, for the rest of the questions.
What
it means for sure, or certainly, or simply yes.
And this guy also used this for no. he had a little bit of a different tone and a head shake.
Sorry.
Okay. He was from Sundsvall, probably. That's not the north of Sweden.
No.
So he's right in the middle. Yeah, he's in the breaking point of.
Hang on. So you use it for yes and no, but with different tones. Are you guys
No.
Chinese or something?
He was
a tonal language.
I don't know. That guy must have been. Maybe he was sick. I don't know. It certainly never means no, because when we say no, we mostly say nothing.
So you say yes or nothing?
No, they don't say yes. Don't be absurd.
No, they make do the noise. I can't make the noise. That's one. Right, so they do that noise, or they do no noise at all.
Yeah,
that must make
pretty much.
Great.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The people in the north of Sweden rarely talks at all.
So
but we make sounds.
Yeah,
I'm just imagining now some sort of high-level government negotiation going on, and the Swedish team on one side either making strange noises like bottles opening, or just being dead silent.
I can imagine that what happened here was they come outdoors and they go, "Fuck, it's really cold out here. Should we go back in the sauna?"
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. It's also true that we didn't have technology until very, very late in the last century. So we used to put grandma in under the beds and go, "Do you see any dust?" And she says, and then it's clean. So that's a really bad daddy joke, as we say in Sweden. Yeah.
Great moments
you
in
mean
Swedish science. The invention of the Swedish Hoover.
the Swedish duster.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, how did we end up in this conversation? We are actually two Swedes here, so and 3 UK based overlords. And you've got
to be careful there, because 2 of us come from England and 1 of us comes from Scotland.
Oh, basically from Northland.
All in the same pot.
Yeah.
Bruce is trying to leave as quickly as he can, whereas the rest of us left the place that we love very much because someone else decided.
Just got to nip out, go to the border with a saw. Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all.
I saw a great meme this week where I think my other half said to me, it was like, the first panel is someone shouting, "This isn't the Brexit that I voted for," and then the second panel is, "Well, it's the one that we voted against." So,
it's been do you remember
amazing.
The old Ready Brek adverts with the glowing child?
Yes.
Someone's done a perfect parody of Brexit as Ready Brexit, with the child glowing, and the barrier is against foreign interference or whatever. You have to understand this. There was an oatmeal based sort of porridge cereal we had as kids.
Instant porridge, basically. Yeah.
And the advert for it was the child who'd had Ready Brek had like this orange glow superimposed around him when he went to the school playground or whatever. And there's this wonderful parody of Brexit done in that style, and you have to Google it, but it's really good.
I'm not going to Google it.
Famous advert. Anyway, never mind. Moving on.
It's been a really fun year, to be honest with you. I've really appreciated everyone that's joined us whilst we just do this crazy thing that we're doing, and I'm pleased that it seems to still be enjoyed. Yeah, we've got Cult coming next week. City of Mist, we've had a good go at. It's certainly been fun. I think our first session is going to need a lot of editing down, because there was quite a bit of, do we do this? Because we basically just record our home games, right, and then just take out the nonsense where appropriate, unless we're live streaming, in which case everyone just has to put up with us not knowing what we're doing, which is just like a home game, I guess.
One of the most popular Effect podcasts when they were doing their actual plays was actually a few minutes of them drinking tea and eating biscuits and nothing else. So I think you should leave.
That's what we're doing here. I mean, you've got your Pepsi Max, but the rest of us are, I mean, this is not. I mean, it kind of looks a bit like tea, like a cold iced tea. And
I don't know what sort of tea you drink, but that looks nothing like tea.
That could be a very large strawberry berry tea.
Yeah, or Carolina sweet tea kind of looks a bit like that if you don't put your mouth in. And of course, we've got biscuits. So
tea should be brown and opaque.
Yeah, Halloween is coming up this weekend.
Halloween is coming up.
But
Who
I've
knew?
already started doing a little bit of Christmas. You already saw it with the gingerbread.
Mm.
And now it's time for glögg sour.
What the hell?
What? This is actually beer, but it's flavored like a glögg, and it's sour.
What the fuck is a glögg? I mean,
Malt
we say
wine.
Yeah,
okay, because
spiced mulled wine, Christmas tradition in Sweden.
we use we have mulled wine here as well. Interestingly, in British English, glug, I suppose American English. In English, glug is an onomatopoeia for when you drink something fast. So it must be related.
Glug, 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 you mean?
Yeah. Good evening
what?
to my good friend Alex. It's really good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I hope you have some alcohol with you as well. I agree. It does sound terrible, but I bet it's amazing.
I used to work with a guy called Jeff Lugg, and he had 3 boxes delivered, and they were addressed to G Lug, G Lug, G Lug, and they stacked them on his desk, and it just said glug, glug, glug right opposite me. And I couldn't stop laughing today. Sorry, that wasn't a particularly good anecdote. But
Well, if we're going to go along with the realms of really terrible anecdotes, about 20 years ago, I worked for a company that had, for their IT security, the convention of surname, first initial of the first name, and then a double-digit number incrementing from 00. And a guy called up the help desk before I joined, called Peter Brown, and he was very upset that his login name was Brown P00 or Brown Poo. And yeah, that would be unfortunate to type into your machine every day. Very quickly, we have another guest. Martin.
Oh,
Hello.
Martin,
Good to
you're
see you. Thank
civilized
you for
enough to
joining.
know this.
it's an imposter in a different room.
I'm gonna make you bigger, Joel.
Some glug. Oh, it's a glug sour. Okay.
It's a glögg sour, so it's a Berliner Weisse with glögg.
Is it good?
Spices and flavoring. It's excellent, but you should buy it this year when it's released in like a week, and then you should store it for next year because then it's even better. So this is from last year.
I'm not sure I quite understand. Like, you buy alcohol and then you don't consume it immediately.
Yeah, unless it's in a kit form. Like, I can understand it then if you're in the process of manufacturing it.
And you're sure you're Swedish?
I'm also a home brewer.
Yeah, but it's
not
different
an
if
issue.
it's not ready. If it's ready and you don't drink it, there's something wrong.
I've seen Swedes at midsummer. My God, I thought Brits could put it away. They're crazy. Yeah, they go for it, man. I've never seen so much alcohol pass through a human's body before.
I hope you didn't literally watch it passing through, because that's not fun.
With some of them, yes. Like it when I really did see the all stages, and sometimes it came back out of the hole it went into. It was quite amazing.
Are you sure you weren't watching them being preserved? I mean,
Matthias was like, "Why the hell did I join this?"
I could be getting mixed up with Manchester on a Friday night as well, though.
Kind of synonymous, right?
Like it all just kind of blurs together. So yeah.
Is that amount of alcohol? Yeah.
Anyway, I thought I would join you.
Whilst you can.
I'm not sure how long I can, because as you can see, I'm not in my usual basement dweller's place.
Yeah.
I'm a floor up, so I may well wake my children, in which case I may disappear very quickly. So, but I thought I would come and say happy anniversary.
Hey.
Very well done on a year of entertaining nerds.
I mean, these are the entertaining nerds. I'm just along for the ride, to be honest with you.
You're putting us on display.
Exactly.
I mean, you know,
you're the puppeteer.
Good thing.
The puppet master.
I really don't want to think
of it was the hand. The hand was a step too far, man. That was just
sorry.
That was too much.
The word you're looking for,
Martin. I think you're too sober.
Okay, I will solve that.
Good man. Good man.
I need to stay relatively sober though because my wife is over on Plague Island at the minute. So I'm home alone with the kids. So I need to.
But she's in the UK.
Yeah.
Goodness me. I knew that she was away, but I hadn't realised she'd come back to the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that makes everything worse.
I told you earlier today, Phil, that I'm a grass widow, and you didn't know what it was.
No, it's a term I had not heard of.
Yeah, but you said it's a thing in American English?
Well, I googled it and the term came up, and then I went, okay, that's kind of what I guessed that it meant, but I've never heard that phrase before.
Martin, have you heard that one? Gräsänkling? That's
it's
what you
frequently
are right now.
used in Swedish, yeah.
What's the phrase again?
Grass widow.
Gräsänkling.
Okay.
Grass widow.
Grass
so what does that mean?
Literally like
that
the green
means
stuff
your
that
significant
cows are made
other is somewhere else away, at least for the night, and you are on your own.
You're free to join these sorts of festivities. Yeah.
Which is much better than watching hockey where you're losing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, goodness me. I'm trying to think what we've got planned for, well, what will come up next on the stream. I want to get some more Merkbori. I really do need to get some Symbaroum on there, because that's the one thing that, no matter how much I proselytize, never actually has made it onto the stream. It's just never happened. I think it's because the writing is just so bad. I can't.
I would be definitely down to play some.
No, you've not. Have you not played it yet?
No, I have. Yeah, I have. Just not, not in such esteemed company as those players on the Dark Orb.
We do have fun, don't we?
Are you getting paid, Martin? Sorry, I'm just kidding.
Martin pays me to.
I just like to talk up things that I enjoy.
Same here. I'm just going to remove Yoel for a second. He can come back when he feels
Get
like
out, Yoel.
You're done. You're fired. But yeah, so they need to get some Symbaroum on there. I've kind of been toying with maybe next year looking at Vampire, which I've not touched since like the early 2000s, probably, and I've never run it. I know,
Did
Andy,
you have
you've got
that
history.
in your lap?
Me and Phil were talking about it earlier today.
Yeah.
Evening.
I ran so much of that it burnt out and faded away.
That's the thing. It's the game I grew up playing, and I haven't touched it. I haven't opened V5. I've had it for 2 years now, at least.
Okay, here's the question for you, right? You get embraced as a vampire, yeah? Why does your clothes sense suddenly revert to Victorian England no matter what period you got embraced in? This is the thing I don't understand.
Everyone looked like the Matrix in all of my games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't have
it's like suddenly when you're embraced, your wardrobe changes as well. This is what bothers me.
No, I was a goth before I got embraced, so it all just sort of meant I could just keep wearing the stuff I did without people thinking that I was.
Of course.
Yeah, but this was University Game Society. Everyone was a rocker, so we were fine.
Man, I wish I'd gone to your university.
It was Guildford, so I don't think you did. It's Southerners.
And also, Phil, hopefully we will soon start with our little one-on-one game session.
Yeah.
Where we'll send you to the north of Sweden, so far north that Mattias' hometown will look like a south town.
So far north that my proverbials will fall off.
Yeah, you will be going to Tornedalen.
Surely
are you going to play Skräck?
Call of Cthulhu, Swedish edition.
Okay. Either way, it's Daniel Leto.
Yes,
either
it
way.
is.
Yeah,
it's his scenario that he wrote for the Keeper book of the Swedish version. And we'll try that one player, one keeper. And see if he survives.
That's a very strange take on Call of Cthulhu. So I think if you get the word out, Phil, you can count on a lot of curious, Chaosium fans who want to check it out.
We like curious Chaosium fans.
That's the way that craft fiction is. There's always one protagonist, and he's rarely in a group. So that's really the way it should work.
Yeah, but Lovecraft's fiction is mostly really boring, so hopefully it'll be better than that.
Well, there's an awful lot of adverbs, but
we actually have official acceptance go ahead from Causium in this one.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to clear that with Eloso, the publishers of the Swedish one, before we recorded an English version of it, because I know that there are talks about releasing the Swedish material in English.
Yeah.
It can only be good advertising for them, though, surely.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
but
it depends how
it doesn't
good we
hurt for me to ask the question, are you okay with this?
Don't screw it up, Phil.
Hey, I'm not GMing it. It'll be fine.
Don't screw it up, Johan.
I'm just going to kill him.
No
I
pressure.
mean, yeah, well, we'll just do that at the beginning, and then everything, Well, it's not like Traveller, so we've already done the character generation, and I didn't die during that, so it's all good.
Oh, come on. I generated your character for you before you started playing. You couldn't die in character generation anyway.
No, but if I had tried to generate my own character, it would have taken 4 weeks, and I would have died at least 7 times during
5
that.
weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still going to work out pensions and your Starship mortgage at the end of it. I mean, it takes at least 5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Traveller should get kudos for being one of the few generation systems where you can die before you even get to the table. I think that's important.
I mean, yeah, but I want my role playing to start when I actually start the role playing and not beforehand.
Oh, that's so boring. Embrace the change.
I think it's fine when you don't have like a job and you have that spare time, But when you've got like 2 hours free in an evening, if you negotiate it with the rest of your life, and then you spend it just creating a dead person. I mean, unless you're intentionally playing a vampire or something, for example, character creating a dead person is just not fun. But I think when you're younger,
the entirety of my vampire experience, character generation.
That's what I'm saying. That's fine. At that point, it's not a problem. But
or even worse, Phil, you create a character, you really like it, you really want to play it, and it's dead.
Yeah. And dead in an unplayable way.
Yes.
Exactly. That's it. Mind you, the first time I played Cyberpunk, which was about 3 years ago, it took forever to actually get to play that game. I put a lot of effort into creating my character. I was really happy with him. First fight, first dice roll, and by rights, I should have died straight away. Kudos to Richard, our friend who was running the game, who let me get away with being mortally wounded. So I spent the entire 3 hours just watching everyone else playing, but at least I got to keep my character, which is good because I'd even painted a miniature for it. That was a shit show.
At least you got to sit there, though. I mean, I think we've all created characters for games that then just never ended up happening.
Totally.
That's the worst one when you're like, oh, we're gonna play this game, and then you you get into it, you create a character, and then you're like, and then you get a text or a call or an email like, oh, sorry, real life, whatever, kids, everything happened, can't run it.
Yeah.
And then I've got a binder full of characters like that.
I've got this vision of Phil pleading with the GM in that case, going, "Look, I painted a mini. Come on."
I mean, I wasn't the only one to have brought a mini, to be fair, but it's just nice with the GM. I mean, I presume that the character would otherwise have died. Go on, Matthias.
I was going to ask Martin if you actually save those character sheets.
I did used to until we moved to Sweden, and then it went in the move.
Because I mean.
I did used to for years and years and years.
I mean, I recycled all my character sheets like, I don't know, 100 times over because it was strenuous to find a copying machine, at least before I started at university. We didn't know anyone who had a printer or anything at home. And buying character sheets we bought these pads of 40 sheets, and we reused them until they were impossible to write on again.
I think I very rarely used I very rarely
beautiful
used
but gloss paper and impossible to write on.
I just used to use blocks of blocks of A4 and like do my
Take
own
the shrink
cheat.
wrap off.
Ah, that's
So-
okay. Yeah, okay.
So
Now
that-
this is turning into that that
We are
sketch
old,
with Monty
Matthias.
Python, where everyone is poorer than the other, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I used
Matthias, I
to.
think it's the simple fact that we are old, because
Yeah.
I assume that you are thinking about the Äventyrsspel lineup, those character sheets.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like tree rings. You can't tell how old you are by how many character sheets you have.
But you can by which system those character sheets are from.
Okay, that's probably true.
And I must admit, I have saved the ones that turned out, to be alive for more than 10 sessions and for a whole campaign. Maybe those are I have saved, and those are, but they are like in the on display.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of.
I did, and then I got rid of a lot of stuff, to be honest, that I kind of regret now, because now we're in a place where we've got enough space for it. But when we moved over,
you never know.
Yeah, no, and when we moved over to Sweden, all of our worldly belongings went in a släppvagn.
Trailer.
Yeah, but like a little, just a little one, like you get from like kind of like Ica Maxi or Biltema or whatever, and it was like right, like that was it. We had like a car and then a little trailer, and we had to fit all of our worldly belongings in that, because my wife had gone over with our 2 kids, and I was with my my father-in-law, and we were driving through like Denmark up to Sweden, so we really didn't have a lot of space. So a lot of stuff went in that move, like a lot of my old video game consoles, and a lot of them they just got sold to finance the move as well. So
you do what you have to do, and it's
exactly
part of growing up, isn't it? And,
now
it's lovely to have hindsight, but
but that it happened. But lots of stuff like that disappeared in that move as well, that I was sure I packed, and I'm like, where the hell did that go?
Yeah.
So, but old characters, I wish I'd kept some of them, but
I haven't really got any of mine other than the stuff, because I had a long hiatus where I wasn't playing for about 12 years, and within that time I moved like half a dozen times, and more than that, in fact, because even Aaron and I, we've been together 12, 13 years, and we've moved like loads of times because we were renting for quite a while. But then before that, I lived with my mum, and then I moved out, and then all that sort of crap. But I've got most of my important character sheets from since I started role-playing again. But of course, now I'm GMing more than I'm playing, so that kind of changes things as well. Which brings me to my next question. What's everyone been playing recently? And I think we can start that off with another guest to our birthday extravaganza. I think we should turn this into a drinking game. So, Skål. Doug.
Wait, I was supposed to bring a drink?
Yep, off you go.
Hello, everyone. Well, thanks for the invite.
Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize this was such a VIP. I kind of feel out of like I'm not worthy. Look at this. Look at this panel right here.
I know, right?
You're underdressed, Doug.
I guess I am.
Yeah. Where's the tux?
I'm gonna have to start working out which of these things is best. That might be better.
That's probably a little better.
You have to change it all the time. Yeah, Matthias Milk Ice Lolly brought all the boys to the yard, basically.
Actually, you want to put Doug in the middle so we can do the Brady Bunch thing? I think that works. There we go. Oh, that way. There we go.
Oh, see, and Matthias left.
Screw this.
I joined, and it's like I deal enough with that guy. I don't need to deal with him on my day, on my time off. Matthias is like, no, forget it.
Doug.
Yes.
Doug.
Hey, Phil. First, before we start, congratulations on your first year.
Thank you.
The Dark Orb.
I can't believe we're still going, and people are watching, and it's just been so much fun.
Well, as a fellow content creator, I mean, most people go, oh, well, just the first year. There's a lot of like dedication. There's a lot of like time and everything that gets put aside, put like on hold, and you have to dedicate in order to do this for a full year. So I hope everyone realizes what a big accomplishment like Phil's done just doing this for a year. So congratulations.
It's amazing how much goes into it. Just to kind of bring it down to earth for a minute. Even when you're not physically at a desk planning, you are always planning, and you're always thinking, I'm not doing enough and I need to do more. Yeah. And it's really easy to take that for granted. And I certainly didn't realize, not that I'm complaining, I love it. It's great fun.
No, and that's part of the joy about content creating is that you do it because you love it. But there's also that part of the side where you have to learn how to use everything and how to use social media platforms and how to like I've said to a lot of folks when they're starting out creating content, you can make the best content in the world, but if folks can't find it, you're just basically making it for yourself. So, there is that element of trying to figure out how to get it to a wider audience. And that takes a lot of time.
I'm very impressed with the way that you two have spent the time doing this, especially you, Doug. I mean, I know you're working hard on the Book of Bees at the same time, and it's hard to get that out the press. I can't resist. I'm sorry.
I tell you.
What's the audio book of that, by the way? The audio Book of Bees. I hear
it's just a lot of buzzing. That's basically all it is.
I mean, there is all the buzz. What I will say very quickly, thank you again to everyone. If you've not liked the show and you're enjoying it, please do like it. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. All that kind of stuff. If you're on the Discord and you're enjoying the show and you've got some peace and quiet, we've got look, two slots here. Let's make it a 9.
We could make it a 3x3. That's pretty.
It's not
crazy.
Even, and I've got a little bit of OCD, and it's driving me crazy right now.
I feel lonely, to be honest. I'm kind of like I want someone there, and I want someone there.
There we go.
No, don't do that.
I can stand outside. I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
No.
Fine, mine. We tried to involve you in the party, but
fine. I'll just be here by myself. I created the loner character. I'm just sat in the corner waiting.
No, you're bringing up the
rear. Try and talk to me.
You're the rear guard.
Yeah.
So Phil, what? Now that you've got a year under your belt, what if folks are watching this and making, and they're thinking about doing content and making content, because I'll tell you what, the world needs more people making content for tabletop RPGs, just in general. I think that's a thing. Like board game, there's enough people making board game content. Like there's really, very few folks that are making, our RPG content on a regular basis. If you were to give folks advice now that you have 1 year under your belt, what would you tell them?
It's hard to do it alone.
It is very much.
It's not impossible to do it alone, but it really helps when you've got friends that will help. To be prepared for the fact that for the first 6 months, it's going to feel like you're just not doing it. You're not being successful in anything that you're doing, and that's okay, because if you're just making the stuff that you'd like to watch, that's enough. And I think that's the same for any creative. Make the stuff that you would want to read. Make the music you want to listen to. Just, surround yourself with people that are like-minded and do these things because it's fun for you. And if it shows that you are authentic, which I think is what I very much love, Doug, about your show as well, is the authenticity, that you're just you, and that's it. And if you're prepared to, I'm going to use this phrase because I know it's going to get a rise out of Andy. If you're prepared to expose yourself, then it works really well, because...
What kind of rise is it going to get out of Andy? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but he's the only one giggling.
Don't pan down, Andy.
Don't pan down. But seriously, if particularly if you're a genuine down-to-earth person, which I try to be, being yourself, relaxing, and just being prepared to do the things that you enjoy and share them, that works. And it doesn't have to be all about getting the thousands and the millions of likes, because if you want to do that, that's a career, which is also fine.
Or an employment.
Exactly.
Which is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
So
and that's
I just say
doing,
amen.
so.
I think as a creative, as a content creator, I think you're totally right. Super important that you really love. Oh, the cat is here. Sorry, she's screaming at me.
Bring her in. Bring her in.
Yeah, come.
We're a cat-friendly show. I don't know where mine is. No, screw
no,
you.
She didn't want it. Anyway, no.
Yeah.
Amen. And
you're muted, so.
I think he's yelling at the cat.
We're a cat-friendly stream, so in fact, cats are compulsory.
You know, the best part about, and I want to tell just the folks that are watching this, if you take in anybody that makes online content about, you know, RPGs or just anything, like the best thing that you can do, like, I know, and this sounds so cliche because like everybody says, please comment, like, and subscribe. But if you put a comment on somebody's video and you say, hey, thanks so much for putting that goes a long way to content creators. So, you know, never underestimate that as far as, you know, because a lot of times, you know, just speaking from experience, and Phil can back me up on this, a lot of times you feel like you're just shouting into the void and like nobody's listening, and yeah, you're just doing this to just do it. And that is another reason why, you know, doing this for a full year is really commendable, because, you know,
thank you.
I know how that is.
You know, it's so much easier to be honestly engaged in your viewers if you honestly like what you are airing.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely,
because then it comes for free. If someone reaches out for you, you don't respond to them or give any form of feedback because you want more likes. You do it because you're super happy that this person found what you liked to be interesting and engaging. So as a creator, I think that's absolutely the way to go. Then there are, you know, of course, there are professionals that are super apt at finding, reaching out and fishing those likes and whatnot. And that is not to be, you know, looked down on at all, because that's a profession. But this is not that,
this is not
right?
That.
Right.
No.
This is passion,
right?
And that's something else.
Yeah, and it's been so much fun. I will say that I've had some wonderful comments over the year. Majority of them have either been, actually, we got a lot of feedback on the stuff that we did around Cyberpunk, to be honest with you. My most viewed video last I looked was my setting up for Cyberpunk, which is the things that I do when I run a game of Cyberpunk, mostly online at the moment. In fact, Cyberpunk.
What's this, Cyberpunk? I don't know what that is.
It's like it's a choose your own adventure game. And you basically you go around as a bunch of trolls in the urban jungle, and the idea of it is that basically you need to buy all of the televisions.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
It's very strange.
Nice.
Speaking of televisions, we have.
I just need to say, it's very typically Swedish.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of televisions, so to us that's very exotic. Yeah.
This is true. This is true. And then you have to change the plugs, because they're all imported. Speaking of televisions, we have the one and only Eric Alsandor with us as well.
I wondered if Eric was going to pop on here. Eric, it's about time. What's going on, man?
I mean, I don't want to jump on y'all's old man banter.
But then you can just go.
I'll give you time to collect your thoughts.
I think we need to do a rearrangement here. So This will not let me choose the number of people on each row. So we're going to have to do this by geography, to be honest with you, which means that Martin gets to go in the middle and the Americans get to go at the bottom.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, because that's like a world map. I mean, you know.
In fact, I mean, to be fair, let's do this right. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. I might as well go in the middle then.
There you go. Absolutely.
So we have the Swedes at the very north, and then we have
I guess you're right.
The Americans in the south, and we're kind of stuck in the middle. Yeah, in fact,
I'm just wondering why Scotland is suddenly to the west of you, Phil.
Because Bruce is slightly west of me, I think. I don't know. I have to look on a map.
I should be more to the right.
You should be on the right.
I'm on the east coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there we go. And then I think, are we that way around? We're going by geography because we're nerds.
Yeah.
Well,
Martin, are you
I'm
west?
South.
Yeah, but are you
still
west
not more
Europe?
south than the Brits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it depends.
Are you west of Stockholm?
Where's Smallland and Scotland?
No.
Am I still
You're still more north?
Yeah. Okay.
But is Smallland west or east of Stockholm?
West.
Okay,
yeah,
you're correct.
So we are totally perfectly arranged right now.
Yeah.
So leave the Swedes alone. Thank you.
Now I think Andy is west
leave-
of me.
Yeah, just don't touch us.
Hang on. If you've just joined, we are arranging the squares on your screen by geographical location for no good reason.
Yeah.
And that is very RPG to do that, right?
I think
it
is
is,
very important,
absolutely.
if I'm honest. And I think
There'll be
we
a
need to-
quiz at the end of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you taking
actually,
notes?
Bruce is by far too. Yeah, so this is correct
Hang
for
on.
the next row.
My God.
I believe.
Phil, I have to be east of you.
I'm north of
not
Eric.
sure
I
you
know
are.
that.
You are. You're in like Midwest somewhere, like.
I'm in the northeast.
Topeka?
Oh yeah, you're
No,
right.
I'm
you
in
are just
Vermont,
about.
Eric. Jeez.
Yeah, see?
Look at that wallpaper, that Vermont wallpaper.
The Vermont
Yeah.
wallpaper.
It's period. That's what it is. It's period
Period.
wallpaper.
This is what
Actually-
will simulate the dancing at normal birthday parties, right? You swapping us around.
There you go.
Kind of dance, yeah. We
You
just
wait.
steal.
Actually, I have to say about Doug's wallpaper that it always reminds me of a Stephen King novel, and I don't know why.
I think the same thing every time I watch his streams to see more parts of his house in the corner, just like the stuff he has.
Oh, I
like
could
the
take you on a tour.
candlesticks.
I mean, we could save that for another stream, though.
Yeah, let's see that. Doug, I have a question. Actually,
Where the
Doug
magic
and
happens.
Doug and Matthias, between you, I know you can answer this. Who recorded the unboxing of Twiglet 2000?
Who? I think that
I can tell you that. Can't you, Doug?
I think isn't it Thomas?
You don't know.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I know.
I was actually I was
It's Thomas. It's Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
it
reason
was.
why I ask is because
Yeah.
it's completely devoid of any vocals.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, it's. I like the content, but please, can you just put like some kind of music on it or something?
It's the ASMR version.
Wait a minute.
Or like a laugh track.
So I was all set. I was all set to do an unboxing video. Like I was getting like.
I want to laugh track on it. No, that's it.
And I don't know. I woke up this morning and it was live, so I have no idea why that was put up there. That I was working on.
Laugh
For the
track.
Brits here, you could
Laugh
speed it
track,
up and
that's what I
play
mean.
Benny Hill all the way through it.
There was this moment at the very beginning where the dice are pulled out from the baggie, and I'm like, "Oh no, you're gonna have to move the dice. You've only got one hand."
But I mean, Doug, you can do one as well. Do a better one.
Doug, you can do one.
You can like compete with Thomas.
No, I'm not competing
I
with
think-
Thomas. And Thomas probably was the one that said to make it live, so I'm not going to say anything. So
No, I think the one to
But
beat is actually Matt's one that he did for the effect, because he did gun porn all the way through it, and actually got rather excited by the words olive drab, which was, I think you were.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, but none of us know the answers, Jason. That's the problem. But that's something to behold. You have to watch Matt's Twilight review.
What you could do to the unboxing video is add one of the original soundtracks.
Yeah,
that were released for the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
one of Andreas' songs.
That was kind of the thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that we wanted to do we were talking about Call of Cthulhu earlier on. I think we will have to investigate the licensing for that, because I would absolutely love to use Andreas Lundstrom's.
He owns the licensing for that one.
Yeah, so it just depends on whether or not it's been uploaded to anywhere that's going to be a bitch, and that's kind of hard to know.
But there's so much stuff in that
sometimes
box.
SoundCloud can be really weird, for example, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So as long as we master it in such a way that we can pull the audio out if there's a problem, then
and we will, because I will use it when we pay for our sake, but that will not be added to your recording.
Yeah, exactly. That will just come through separately.
So we can do that, and we have Andreas' blessing to use it as well. So
nice.
We need to get Andreas on the show at some point, because we never have.
Should reach out to him.
Are you doing the unboxing for this thing, Doug, for 20,000?
No, I didn't do it. No, Thomas did it.
Okay,
it's already there.
I was planning on doing one. In fact, I had it all set up. I had scheduled time to film it next week, and before I go to Carnage, and I woke up this morning and this was all live on the. So Doug, it kind of surprised me. So
can I make a recommendation
in there? Holy cow.
Can I make a request?
There's a ton of content in that box.
God.
Can you do a boxing video?
I can do a box. What I will do is I will just throw the contents out on the table, and then I will put it back in the box.
Yeah,
so it'll be a boxing video.
Yeah, and then you need to get the shrink wrap on the outside.
Right.
Yeah, I heard somewhere that apparently there was a Kickstarter, and a bunch of stuff was unlocked to be put in that box. So it weighs quite a bit.
It's crazy. It's crazy heavy.
It's one of the few Free Gun games that I unbacked.
Whoa!
Wow. Okay, so who can boot Phil from his show?
Yeah, but we're not representing the league tonight.
No.
Civilians, right?
Right.
So we can give him the evil eye, but you can actually use it for weightlifting. Yeah,
it's
so
super heavy.
I understand.
Matthias, let's backpedal though for a second. How not a verbal answer, please, but how much did that go on Ruin for Simperum in my favor? So I think this money was transferred to a different campaign, and I don't even like 5th edition.
I'm going to have to go, chaps, so I will leave you.
Andy, thank you so much.
Andy, it was great to see you, my friend.
It really was.
Well done, Phil, on a year.
I said hi.
Thank you.
I look forward to the audio book of the Book of Bees.
I will.
B-side.
You'll get an early review copy. How about that, Andy?
Yeah. I also look forward to Eric's Kickstarter, of course. Okay.
Almost done, man.
And
I'm not distracting myself right now.
In the next one.
Bye, Andy.
See you on.
Bye.
Take care, brother.
See you, dude.
Well, that screwed up our geography. So hang on a minute.
I gotta tell you though, the layout is actually of that book. Actually looks usable. It's like I've never seen a Free League book with a usable layout before. There's charts on there and stats and
the Twilight 2000. Yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, not full page illustrations every other page. I was like, oh shit.
It looks like a manual.
It is wonderful, but I just realized I'd really love to play it, but I'll never run it. I just don't have an affinity for urban warfare. It's not something that interests me.
It was doing Gen Con and Origins with the big backdrop in the preview copy that we had at the booth. It was really interesting to see, and I don't want to be stereotypical or anything, but there was a certain crowd that as soon as they came up to the booth, they were excited about that particular product. And 99% of the time you could go, oh, that was, that person's going to be really excited about Twilight 2000. And sure enough, they were. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It was just really neat to see hey, this isn't our typical, Free League audience that we see 80 to 90% of the time. And it was really cool to see more folks. And then that brought them over to, taking a look at our other products. And that was really, really cool. But there were a few cases where there were some like young ladies that thought this was that thought Twilight 2000
starving
was really cool.
Polish survivalists.
Right. They were like and it was just like wow, they wanted to know more about it, and like they were all into it, and they couldn't wait for it to be released.
They were there for you, Doug. They were there for that.
It was really neat.
They were all there for the vampires. That's what it is.
I don't know if it's fair to say, but I think even if the target crowd or the people that initially show an interest in this game are different from other Free League games, it is a very Free League game.
Oh, absolutely.
In the end, and for me, because I never played it way back, but now, and I'm not particularly interested in reenacting World War whatever.
Right.
But this is, it feels like it's more about being left behind enemy lines, surviving at all costs. I think this will. It is super nice if those people that you were talking about, Doug, find this game interesting and want to play it. But I think it can attract a whole other crowd as well, because the themes that it deals with are universal. I would
absolutely.
say. Twilight 2000 is definitely one of our games that I am most keen to play myself. Because it feels.
I'd love to play it. It does look great. I just know I'll never run it. That's the thing.
If I had a strong concept, or if I had a story I wanted to tell in that world, then I'd do it. But like for me, like the complete lack of anything that's any kind of fantastical element, it's like I can only go so far with that without needing something like mutants or like some kind. I don't know. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just like Civil War reenactment to me, like the role playing game. But I mean,
what was really cool with Free League this week, though. Not that we're talking about Free League, but we are, it seems, was that Coriolis finally got an official module on Foundry, etc.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh, support? Yeah, Foundry support.
Yeah. That's really cool.
No thanks to me.
Well, I mean, you don't really do anything to do with Coriolis, do you? So
no, I'm back being the brand manager, but other than that,
you've never even read it. Do you know what Coriolis is?
No, it's some kind of, I don't know. It's
some kind of gambling and stuff. Who cares? Yeah.
It feels super, and I must say, in February, I think we launched our first virtual tabletop module for Foundry. So it's not very long ago,
right?
But man, is it growing for us, and I think in itself as well. So it's super cool.
Well, it's interesting to see that like Foundry is kind of taken off, and I think there's a couple reasons for that.
I backed it way early.
Yeah, whereas Astral, like they just said that they were going to just stop development of it and just kind of get rid of that. So
but that's sad. That's always super sad when it happens. Someone's dream, Yeah.
But I think it's kind of neat how Foundry's kind of found their niche as far as like the community and like being able to integrate it with like publishers' websites, and like that's a big thing. Like a lot of people don't realize how big that is. That's going to be huge, for the RPG industry, going forward, to be able to buy a virtual tabletop module along with like a physical copy. That's big. Because that right there, that's the future of RPGs. Just going forward.
Like when I run rules light stuff, when I run Mothership or other rules like Black Hack or whatever, and my players just hit buttons, and after 3 sessions, there's no more rule flipping. You're just doing it, and there's no getting books, and you just go right through it. Even playing, I will only play 5th edition now if we're running it through a VTT or D&D Beyond or something like that. I'm not doing this like pile of books on the table thing anymore because it makes my life easier, for sure.
I think all the third-party modules I think Astral went in with a really long kind of free offer, didn't they? And I'm wondering if that's what put them on the back foot there, because was it something like it was at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Was it like 6 months or something like that? Yeah. They said, completely free. And it's like,
see, I never heard of it.
I just didn't really find it very intuitive. I remember when it first came out, I created an account and I kind of feel like, oh, okay, I'm logged in. Now what?
Because for us, it was Fantasy Grounds, and then obviously Roll20. I never even heard of it. I never even heard of Astral.
Yeah, we have another new friend on the stream.
It's drive-through. Is their stuff?
It was their virtual tabletop platform, and I think at this point you really need to bring something new to the market. Otherwise, you're not going to survive because there's so much competition. There's already so many. There's already a few folks that are already well established in the space, and if you're not bringing anything new to the market, then it's going to be tough.
Interesting cell phone stuff too. I've seen apps like VTT apps on phones for rules light stuff, where it's like you're just playing from your phone. Which is like you can play in the car. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's also. I mean, there's a reason why Alice Was Missing was the game of the year for the Ennies this year. I mean, that's again. I think that's the future of RPG. I think you're going to see more, tabletop RPGs go into that space.
I think Roll is a really interesting product, and although I backed it at a very basic level on the Kickstarter, I've not logged into it at all. But it's
what is that?
It's a video conferencing first, VTT second app.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Zoom with VTT stuff built in. Apparently it's very good. If you've got the support that you need for, the character sheets and the system that you need it for, it's apparently very easy to use, very straightforward, pretty enough. But the downside, if memory serves, and they probably changed its model now, as I said, I haven't logged into it, is that theoretically everyone is supposed to have their own license. Whereas with Foundry and with Fantasy Grounds, one person spends all the money on it. It's a bit like GMing. One person spends all the money on it, and then everyone else just jumps on.
Sure. Yeah, but for me, I paid $50 for Foundry. I have it for life. And if I was hosting my own, I have Google Fiber at the house. I was hosting my own Foundry server here on my computer with no problems. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, you know what? Let me go get on Forge and have it open. So if they want to go in there and look around, I paid $50 to Forge for like 2 years. So here you go. Yeah. Like all my files in the cloud now. And I mean, it's totally worth it. For me as a graphic designer, like I get to build all the components and upload them and like have, all my stuff, all my custom, I made all these maps that are all mine. That scratches a big itch for me, man. Like be able to do all that in Foundry, so the only problem with them was in the beginning, their audio, their integrated audio video stuff was kind of trash. But I think they work.
Yeah.
I mean, when we did that DCC game on the Dark Orb, we used what was it? Owlbear Rodeo. Yeah. I mean, and that,
it's free. Right?
That's like completely the other end, but it works wonders. I mean, you just throw things up in it, and you don't have to pay for that.
I love it.
That's nice and easy. But I mean, I'm kind of eyeballing Foundry now that we're getting our fiber here because I mean, at the minute.
Let me know if you have any questions, Martin. I'll tell you. I mean, because I fought with it at the beginning, but now it's like
I'll hit you up for that definitely because
Foundry is really good. Fantasy Grounds I fucking hate.
When we were shut down,
so much money on it.
Well, I mean, when we were shut down, I was thinking of like running games for pay for fun and just building all the components in Foundry, having it all there, just like just to have something to do at night because we're all shut down, not being stuck in the house. So
yeah, I mean, I've got Fantasy Grounds license. I spent hundreds of pounds on Fantasy Grounds. Realized how much I hate it. Roll20 I just natively don't love, but it works very well. I just don't really love it.
It gets sloggy, and a lot of people don't. That's the only problem. Like
Foundry is good.
I would say Roll20 depends on how you use it.
I know.
I'm a theater mind GM, so Roll20 for me works magic. I don't use it for the audio or the video. We use other devices for that.
Yeah,
it's a dice roller. It's a handout handler. It's a character sheet handler.
I will
say, is Dark Orb a channel that is open with its sponsorships, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Product placement.
So I can tell
that's
you
where it started, but I think we're
okay. Martin, hands up, all of us who sponsored the Dark Orb with way too much money each month.
Don't know what you're talking about, Joey.
So the sponsorship we have on the Dark Orb is we've got a handful of patrons on Patreon, and that's it. So
and also Foundry.
Has got to start.
I mean, you know, if they want to give me lots of money to promote a thing that I don't think is very fun, then that's great. You know, Fantasy Grounds. You know, if you want to pay me lots of money to trash your product, I'm very happy to. Fantasy Grounds is really good. The challenge I have with a lot of these things, and Yoel, I'm with you. The reason I don't like Roll20 is the same reason that I don't like Harry Potter. It's mostly because everyone else loves it.
The
and
wow!
Harry
I was
Potter
waiting for it.
Was it coded by a turf as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the reality is that normally, and I'm not talking about how some people use them as a tool to, you know, bring maps in and show, you know, basically the minimal amount of an extension of theatre of the mind. But when you get to a point where you are genuinely just playing a miniatures war game online, that's when I lose my enjoyment of online role playing.
There's a balance, man. There's a balance. I only use miniatures when it's like you like an alien RPG. Sometimes if you don't use a battle map, you will die because the alien just eradicates you. So I kind of have to, you know, like you get killed. You know, it's not,
but at the point
I don't want to
where,
forget that, you know.
But the point when you are worried more about counting the squares than telling the story, that's the point where I start to lose my love for gaming, and that happens in person as well. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like you're more inclined to let the system run your game.
Yeah, and Phil, my heart really sank when you told me that was your experience of Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, it was terrible.
Counting
online,
grids.
Yeah.
I would never use a battle.
No, it was terrible. Horrible to even hear
Call of
that
Cthulhu
one.
in Fantasy Grounds was like a double whammy of absolutely no fun.
I mean, half the time I use a backdrop image and then the character icons, and then that's it. Unless we're going into like a
and then you just use it for having somewhere useful to put your character sheet and for dice rolling, no problem.
Yeah,
but when you have all of the automation, then it stops being a narrative role-playing game or even a non-narrative role-playing game and starts becoming, let's just play a video game and talk every now and then. And I've got a PlayStation for that. It's a birthday party and we have another person at the door.
Oh,
Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Jason. Jason.
Very good.
No problem, people. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice
Thank
to see
you so
you
much
all.
for joining us.
Congratulations on the year.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. I am getting less sober by the minute, which is fun.
Awesome. Awesome news.
I'm at a nice plateau.
But that's your first drink, right, Phil?
I mean, there was about this much rum in it, but yes.
I forgot I had a giant Corona in my refrigerator.
But yeah, it is my first drink.
Here we go.
I don't drink very much very often, so.
Oh.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm a fake Irish person by that statement.
I mean, in the wintertime, that's all we do. There's nothing else to do. It's like game and drunk in the house.
I know. When we move house, I think it's going to change a little bit because we'll be within walking distance of some of our good friends. So I think it's very different when you're just online or, you know, just sat watching the TV, to be fair.
So will you have a birthday party for the Dark Orb with family and have them over, treat them to cake and balloons and stuff? And
I mean, you all would have been welcome to come over. But you chose not
I'm
to.
talking family now. Like,
so am I. So am I. You're all family to me.
No, but the mother.
None of my family care about this crap. Don't be silly.
No. Okay.
Yeah, my wife doesn't really even care about.
But I tell you what,
content creating. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
You know.
To be fair, Erin my other half is very, very proud and very supportive, and I think she appreciates that I give her time to play on the PlayStation. she can do whatever she wants whilst I'm doing this. However, Matthias, I will tell you this: in 2 weeks' time, my home Simba Room group is going to play in person for the first time ever.
You're in a costume,
Ever.
Phil?
I'm always in a costume.
Just leather neck braces and like some spikes.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, we all know each other. We've all played at a table together before, but we've never actually sat and played Cimbrum as the group that we are now.
Champagne.
And we've started this campaign May of 2019.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
awesome.
Like,
it's just weird.
Cool.
What is that?
Oh, it's Leidenheimer's.
We're drinking what?
Yes. It's a sour beer.
Or sour.
Spontaneous
it's like
fermented.
Yola's doing the ultimate mixing, really. But no spirit.
2 sour beers.
You're gonna regret it, homie.
And improved stuff so far.
It's important to to be diverse in your nerdery, I think.
Yeah.
And
sure.
As Phil knows, I am a keen hockey and also football. For you, Doug, and Eric, maybe as well, soccer nerd, as well as a role-playing games nerd. But Joel, you seem to be a full-on beer nerd or ale nerd or whatever.
I am both in what I drink and what I brew. I'm a
nice
home brewer.
Very cool. That's awesome.
So let's make this clear. It is home brewing in Sweden is strictly regulated, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Not here, not in the States.
But it's
but in Sweden it is. No moonshine here.
No moonshine here either, but beer is fine. No moonshine.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Beer is actually fine here now as well. It didn't used to be. But I can't even charge for the ingredients I use if I were to give bottles away.
Wow.
I can't even break even if I were
I know
to
how
sell
that
them.
feels. Having a hobby that doesn't break even, yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Orb.
You gotta start. You guys like kickstarting some stuff, Phil.
Kickstart my shelving.
Start writing some stuff down and pay somebody to make it for you. You got people to do it.
The number of things that I've 3/4 written. With Martin and I were talking about this earlier. I've written 2 scenarios for Cimbrum and run them both, and haven't finished writing. Like you get 3/4 to 4/5 written down, then you run it, kind of blag the last bit because you don't really know what's going to happen anyway. Because you're GMing, you never know. And I'm just like, I've done it now, and I don't care anymore.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that kind of slides under the door, where it's like, especially the OSR world, where it's like, I'm gonna write a concept now on a pamphlet and sell it for $10 on Twitter on it.o. It's like, what?
Yeah,
there's nothing actually on here, and then they pay for one nice piece of art and they slap it up there, and then like, I don't know. So you'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you could just write complete nonsense and then just say it's a troika, right? I've been reading troika. It's amazing.
Here is where I want to move back a little bit in the conversation. When we were talking about Twilight 2000, and none of us were enthusiastic about playing it. It's not for us and so forth. Yeah, I still backed it because I'm a moron and like to spend money on companies I like.
Sure.
But what I really appreciate with this one is, and now Doug and Matthias might hate me or like what I'm saying, is that you guys are going out a little bit on a limb, but you're doing it in a strategic way, reaching out to audiences you wouldn't otherwise reach. And you're doing this with the Twilight 2000, and I dare say it, with the re-release of Drakar and Demoner as well.
Yeah.
And that is bloody brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. There are people whose opinion I respect. Like my editor, who's a good friend of mine, and he loves Twilight 2000. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, man, I love it. He talks about it all the time. And then we're talking right now, and he's just like, I can see myself maybe taking that rule set, that urban combat set, and putting it into another setting with mechs maybe, or something like that, or like something like a mech warrior setting with Twilight 2000 rules. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
I think what this, I mean, there's no secret that we are doing very well and people like our games.
Humble brag.
But actually, I'm not trying to be funny here. The thing is, with Twilight 2000, what it sort of, to me, is a testament of is the fact that Free League is so far from corporate that you can come.
I agree.
Do games for the passion that we feel for. And in this case, and in other cases, we have different people loving different kinds of games and having passion for different kinds of games. And it's not like we are sitting at the round table and discussing what our core audience will think. We primarily, of course, those discussions are also important, but our primary concern is doing games that we love, and not necessarily games that we all love, because we have different tastes. So
I think
I hope that you may call us brave. I say that this, if anything,
bold,
is
bold.
No, maybe it's just us doing what we love.
I think it's a courage of conviction. I mean, for example, with Twilight 2000, I mean, Thomas Herenstam, he did that as a labor of love, right? You know, it's a game that he had a lot of affection for, is my understanding, and he just wanted to make the best version of that he could. That's my interpretation. Actually, I've never spoken to Thomas apart from Matt, UK Games Expert.
I never named any names.
Well, I can, because I don't work for freely.
And it's hard, you know, when a game has an existing fan base, an existing community, and has set expectations as to what they love and what they are expecting for a new edition, to be able to go in and kind of put your own spin on it and still live up to that community's expectation is a super hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I hope, I don't know, because we haven't seen it fully released yet, but based on the feedback that we've gotten from a lot of folks, either at conventions or just online, it seems like Thomas and the Free League team has done that, and that's really, really commendable. And I hope that doesn't go, you know, unnoticed by a lot of folks, because that was a super, super tricky thing to navigate, you know, and more so than some of our other products, because where we haven't done, I mean, I don't, Matthias, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never really picked up somebody else's game and then done a new edition and tapped into an existing fan base before, have we?
Yeah, in Swedish, that's why Joel is doing like this.
Yeah,
in Swedish, Free League has done that, but not in. And now we're doing the One Ring, right? So that's the second edition of a previous.
But that was already.
But Francesco is still a vital part of the creation. So no matter what, I mean, if you are, because I think I was trying to express is that there is an element of artistic ambition and artistic, you know, expression in creating games, creating role-playing games, and that means that not everyone will like what you put out there, and that is maybe especially true if you rebrand or you know, release something that has been released before, and you have changed stuff because of your artistic or gameplay design, you know, mechanic preferences or whatever. But in the end, when you put out something, anything, a pod, a game, or a movie, like you were going to see Dune soon, right?
Yeah, we're going to see Dune on Monday.
Yeah, that's one thing we can talk about. Some people will love it, some people will think, nah, and some people will hate it. It's just the way it is. And hopefully with Twilight, enough people will enjoy it that the ones who really have passion for making that game get to keep on doing it.
I think what I really like
was very, very well received, right? It's been out for quite some time.
It seems to be, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've only heard positives about it. There might be some negatives out there, but there are not that many that they are welcome.
The negatives are going to be from the really diehard people who didn't want a new edition and don't grasp the concept that they don't have to play the new edition. It's up to them.
It's a hard concept.
But I think what's really important is, and I class Free League amongst this, And I do think we should talk about other things than Free League, by the way. So we should probably move on very quickly.
This was popping, man.
Free League are one of a handful of publishers who I feel don't put out a lazy product. What I mean by that is that there are some companies out there, and I'm not going to name them because I can't think of any off the top of my head because I'm slightly drunk.
Sorry, Wizards of the Coast. Sorry, what?
I couldn't possibly comment. But where
it wasn't me who said that. It was not me who said that.
I'm going to say it's not me either. Don't look at me.
Hey, it was me. I don't give a shit.
It's definitely going like this.
I'm a nobody in Sweden, man. I don't give a crap. Come after me, Wizards of the Coast.
That Wizard College book they put out. I'm like, I'm done with this.
I mean, no. To be honest, it's not that for me. It's that they go for the middle ground, and I'm not interested in the middle ground with a role playing game.
But what I'm trying to say is that there are companies out there who put out product solely to keep the wheels turning, to keep the machine turning, to make sure that you have cash flow. And I don't. Yeah, World of Darkness.
Back in the day, the old
back in the day, yes, because they had to, because they grew beyond their own abilities to sustain themselves. But I think Free League are very careful, and there are other companies, mostly small companies, where that doesn't happen, where the majority of the products that are put out by an organization, by a company, are expressions, as Matthias said, they're expressions of art. You pick up a Free League book and you can tell that the person who's written it cares about what they're writing and that every word is carefully chosen. Now, it may well be that it was carefully chosen in Swedish and then it's come to English and you kind of go, huh? But that's a different issue entirely. And I do think that there are some, particularly in Coriolis, there are some earlier scenarios that don't flow very well and that need editing. But I mean, Coriolis is one of the oldest games in the portfolio, and that's my exception rather than the rule. Hindenburg is fucking amazing. I can't even understand the language, and I just love this book so much.
I mean, I think personally with
can we please stop talking about the particular company and just talk about general,
Exactly.
Yeah,
so lift the discussion.
Yeah.
I want to lift the discussion to one point that we had on another one that went on forever. The term OSR.
Yes. What does OSR mean?
It means whatever it means to the person creating the thing they're creating at that time. That's what it means.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's old school Renaissance, it's old school Revolution, it's old school come up with another thing for the art, It's trying to capture a feeling rather than create something that is a set of rules.
And now I'm going to be a bit cynical because what I have noticed, it's mostly a little bit of if I'm talking about role-playing games, the younger generation talking about the OSR, trying to capture a feeling they never experienced because us olders don't understand this part as old school. What the heck are you talking about? This is nothing similar to what we played.
Yeah.
It's
a term.
But it's nothing similar to what you played, Joel. It might be similar to what someone of your age somewhere else played.
No, I don't think
Probably
it's that.
not.
I don't think
because
it's that.
I played them both. If I put it that way, I played American games, I played Swedish games.
No, what I mean is you played your games with your group, but you played your games. What they're talking about is a feeling that they've maybe experienced second or third hand, or they've been told about. Everyone, I mean, and that's the thing. You're trying to find this thing that gives you this feeling. That's what it is.
I think OSR needs to be treated without any attribution to the genre or the generation rather that it's trying to encapsulate. OSR is a contemporary game genre that encompasses system mechanics from the beginning of role-playing, but it's a contemporary genre. And the reason why it's a contemporary genre is because all the fucking OSR books are all out in the last 5 to 10 years. So it's a new.
I mean,
really,
the OSR started as a backlash against third ed D&D, so it's been a bit longer than that.
I know.
Basically,
but
Monty
now,
Bill's simulationist version of D&D made people go, hang on, I don't want a world where, like, I know exactly what level a peasant is and what hit points they have.
But when you look at what OSR means now, OSR means Mercbory, it means old school essentials, it means
DCC,
sharp swords and sinister spells, it means DCC. These are all contemporary games, and yes, it began earlier.
Well, if I can interject some concepts, like to me, it's okay to fail. Embracing failure is a big part of the OSR. Like the biggest problem I have with 5th edition is like you can never fit, you never fail, like you always win, you always have a power. And number two, like you're heroes, yes, but you're just people you're like victims, like you're just trying to survive. If you look at the old school like box art, you're like running from danger. In the 5th edition, like you're like like you're jumping at stuff, you know what I mean? Like I'm not afraid of anything. Everything's statted out and everything is that to me is a big difference between the two. Is like I like the catharsis that comes from a struggle and then barely winning. Last 2 times we played Alien, even my Mothership campaign just ended on Wednesday. 1 person survived out of 6, and it was like a harrowing struggle. And they'll talk about those games forever.
But that's about as OSR as you can get, actually, and that's not an OSR game.
It's rulings over rules as well, though. That's a big calling card of OSR. It's rulings over rules. You have these very kind of basic pared down rules. You don't go too far into anything, and you say, as GM, judge, storyteller, whatever you want to call it, your rulings are more important than these things on this paper, because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to create fun. And if any of those rules go against your fun, then make a ruling. Yeah. And that's very OSR as well. So
leave some mystery in there too. Not everything has to be explained all the way.
Judging from that, I would then say that Call of Cthulhu is OSR.
Nah, in some ways, because you die pretty easily. I mean,
but it's not a pulp game, and I think a lot of OSR is quite pulpy.
Isn't Call of Cthulhu?
There's like a big system, Pulp Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's true. That's different though. That's where you're basically invincible.
You can gun them down and stuff.
Let's be topical for a minute. Doug, you've got your finger on the pulse. Has anything happened in the last few days?
Well, just earlier today, I kind of put this in our chat, just our private chat.
Catch my segue.
Six More Vodka actually just announced that they're going to stop development and publishing Degenesis, that line.
I saw it this morning. I got text that,
which is crazy to think about because they changed their model. I think either earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember what it was. Where it was free to play. You could download all the PDFs, and the PDFs were beautiful. There were multiple 100-page PDFs, and you could just download it and play it. And with the hope, pretty much what they had was they just hoped that folks would love the PDF so much that they would buy the physical copies. And they even set up some sort of like Patreon kind of thing where people could pledge so much a month and you'd get access to the PDFs beforehand, or you'd get a discount, I think, on the physical books as they're being written. But they realized that model didn't work. And I've said this right along. I think it's great when companies try to kind of change up the industry and try to do something new. It's sad to see this thing happen because Six More Vodka, that was a very, very high quality. They make some very high quality books. That's a great setting, and it's sad because they were saying that their buy through rate. People downloaded the Degenesis, like the Rebirth edition, like 18,000 times or something like that, and only sold 60 physical copies.
That's you see, the problem is all that artwork. They should have hit all that artwork behind a paywall, man. You can have the starter set and maybe a little adventure, but to have the whole thing, I don't know, man. I don't know what they were thinking with that, dude.
It was a gamble.
I see Matthias' face, and I dare to say that Vindskäl, for instance, we have a small Swedish publisher called Bläckfisk Förlag. They are still using pay what you want for the PDFs, and what you want might mean 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the artwork. I mean, there's so much art. Amazing art.
You see
that expensive.
Product.
But guys, you're saying 18,000 downloads and then 60 physical copies.
Yeah,
60.
Yeah, so the buy-through rate was super low
because people don't really run from paper anymore. Let's face it. We are
okay. If you say so, but
I think that's not kind of the. I think
controversial.
Okay, let me
maybe not the genesis.
Yeah, it's a huge world. It's very, very lore heavy.
Yeah, it is
very lore heavy.
It's
very dense.
And if you want to buy all of the Genesis, so you're looking at 600, 700 euros on shelf price.
Do you think that is strange to me? I don't know.
Well, I think it's more along the lines of, I think now the younger generations are moving more towards the PDF model, apart from maybe with the kind of the Pokemon style, gotta catch them all, which I wouldn't know anything about.
PDFs going hand in hand with VTTs. Like, right, I'm not going to use open a book when I have a whole bunch of PDFs all tabbed out. I'm just not going to do it.
True.
I will buy a book if it has amazing, like the Aliens books, like those are amazing art. I want to keep it. Blade Runner, I'll probably buy that, but it will sit on my shelf. I will never play from those books.
Yeah. If you're running a game online, running from a book is kind of hard.
It sucks.
It's not impossible, but it's kind of hard.
I find it just as hard from a PDF, though, to be honest. I honestly think...
Control F, homie.
Yeah,
Martin, get on there.
You can, but what I think that is actually going to happen is PDFs are probably going to drop out, and what you're going to find is that VTTs with all of the information in them are going to take over, and that's why you have certain companies, because we're moving away from saying certain companies, but certain companies, I need to get my finger pointing the right way, are starting to prioritize things like VTT content because they see that people want all of that in an easily clickable format where everything's together.
Yeah, I think the thing is
today.
But when you're giving your free PDFs away during a lockdown, hoping that people will buy your product, when people don't this is not necessarily accurate, but a lot of people don't have the money to spend on your very high-end product.
$60, like that, $70.
Yeah, they were very, very expensive books.
Don't get me wrong. Knowing this, I'm very inclined to go and buy the Genesis.
I looked on eBay today. There are a few copies you can still buy for like $60 in the US, lightly used. I was like, I got to get a copy now.
Was there a reason they didn't go to Kickstarter? Or...
They have gone to.
Oh, they did. Okay,
they have in the past. Yeah, it's just for all their new content, they decided to do this model, and to grow their fan base and their consumer base, they kind of just put it out as pay what you want or free. They actually said, hey, everything's available for free online. You just set up an account on our website, and they said this. They got like something like 20,000 new members onto their website, but the buy-through rate was just super.
Well, they can do the kiss thing. Take the makeup off. Come back later, a couple of years, and like put the makeup back on, and like sell a bunch of copies, and like there's like demand for it, or sell the IP, sell it to somebody else, or whatever.
I think it's such a rich IP now, and I think it's probably
so kind of cool. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff in there that's kind of weird. They're like, they have like Space Muhammad, that's kind of weird to me. They wrote in like a Islamic spiritual leader in the book. I was like, whoa, it's pretty risky stuff here. I mean, but the world is so dense. A lot of race war stuff in there too, like Africa stuff. Like,
there was a bit of controversy fairly recently about that. But
it's all well done. But I mean,
it's a beautiful product, and it's a real shame.
It's tough because a lot of their, like, I've got their physical books, and I bought them over lockdown because I just wanted to learn more.
Did you get all of them?
I did not get all of them. I got a good chunk of them.
Are you going to get all of them now?
No, I'm not. And because
how many books are there?
There's quite a few. There's probably.
I will show you the all-in bundle. I have it right
so
here.
say if it's six books, you are like 10% of their sales.
It was heavy. Like you have to buy in order, especially to get it shipped over here in the States, you have to buy a substantial amount in order to get the shipping, because the shipping alone costs you like $140 to get it over here.
Right, bro.
Wow, that's like
God, how cool is that, man? Oh my God. It's like, yeah, 500 USD. Yeah, that's about what I thought it'd be. And it's $100 shipping.
Well, it was free.
Twice the Corinthia bundle.
Tsar Bomba Deluxe. That's like Kickstarter backer level Tsar Bomba.
The full level.
Yeah, the back of the Tsar Bomba.
That's what I'm looking at. Full level. Yeah.
I think I got the 4 like main books. If I
like this kind of thing.
Yeah, it wasn't that one. I can't remember what it was.
One of the others.
I think it was that solo storyteller, I think, combo.
So, but what did you say, Doug? They are packing up shop.
Yeah, they're going to sell out their existing inventory and stop development of it, and that's it. And the last I knew, they were trying to find a U.S. distributor for their books, and evidently they must not have found someone to pick up their books and distribute them.
Are they in Germany?
Yes.
Again, super sad.
It's super sad because I mean that's one of your. We were talking about like passion projects and putting a lot of love and making books that like we would want. Like going back to Matthias' statement about Free League, like that's another company that just wanted to like make books and make this world to have people play in, and it just didn't kind of work out, and that's unfortunate, because I mean you look at the. You look at the quality of the materials that they put out and the art and everything. It's a super high end product.
I've got a question for everyone that's a GM. Excluding the games you are already running or have already run, if you could pick one game that has a rich story setting that's either in your collection or that you wish was in your collection, that you could run the campaign for, or a published campaign for, without losing any personal time, because we're all devoid of the time to actually do this, what would it be?
Oh, I got an answer.
Go for it.
It'd be Lancer or Coriolis. Lancer or Coriolis. I like Lancer. It's awesome, but man, there's a lot going on. And it's like I have to read. And Coriolis, I have to run it for people who care about the material. I'm not going to run it and just explain every 10 seconds, stop and be like, this is what this is. This is what this is.
You have to have the right party for Coriolis, definitely. I kind of would love to run Coriolis again. We started the campaign. We had to drop it for various reasons. But I've thought about that.
Coriolis and Lancer.
Just picked up the VTT for Coriolis today.
Nice.
So well done, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm going to say Traveler. Because what? I recently fell down that rabbit hole.
Traveler's wonderful.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, I've gone through from 1 month of not having any to like owning Pirates of Drenax, the core book, a couple of other books as well. Yeah, I went down a real rabbit hole with that one.
I think that's a good place to go for a rabbit hole. I think I've played Traveler all of once. Andy Exius, who was on earlier, ran it, and it was one of the best science fiction experiences I've had in role playing. The other being Mothership that different Bruce ran for us. Yeah, that's a really good answer. Bruce, as we're talking about Bruce's, have you got one?
Well, there's two really. I'm a typical Scottish person. I try and get more than just the one in. But I'm going to try see if anyone recognizes this phrase, woof rop.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Because when I said it to someone else, they went, "I don't get what that is."
They just think you're flaring.
Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the Enemy of the Gates campaign. That one I would really love to do. I don't own it, but I've loved
playing fantasy right now, homie.
Yeah. And the only other idea that I've ever had would be for Star Wars. And I'll probably use it on the D6, the West End Games version. I don't mind the don't mind the Edge one, but I'm still there.
No,
and it'll be a homebrew idea. Yeah, it'll be a homebrew one inspired by old radio show, which was part of it linked to Star Trek, called Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, where there would be a merchant ship, but having a few times trying to dodge the Empire and help out a person while looking for a lost treasure.
Sounds amazing.
Did we see that? Did everybody see that Edge Studios is going to be making a new Star Wars RPG?
It's not new. It's the same one.
Man, dude.
It's the same, like the Genesis system, but it's going to be like a new source book. Like, you know how they did like the Smuggler's book and no, it's not. Well, it's Edge Studios. They don't. It's still an Asmodee company.
Studio, but
they moved all the RPGs to the same studio now, right?
Yeah. So they're gonna reprint all the old stuff, but they're also going to be putting out some new. Like, what is it? Force and Destiny was one of the RPGs, and then they did the
Edge of the Empire, and some other. And I guess that this will be something similar, a new time setting, and that will also act as for new entries. It will be an easy entry because it will only be at the start, and then they can sell the older modules as well. So new setting-ish.
Which I wonder if they're going to do like the High Republic, if they're going to do an RPG based on the High Republic, like the new books that are coming out. I wonder if that's
doubt it. Maybe more of the Mandalorian age.
That would be cool too.
That is
Mandalorian
coming
Wars
out with more and more shows. So right after the fall of the Empire, I think that is more likely.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Mandalorian supplement or another book. Core book for Mandalorians.
Doug, you got a campaign you'd love to run if you had the infinite time?
I think the one game that's been on my shelf for like the longest time that I've got a whole bunch of books for that I've played it once and I didn't really like get into it a huge amount, but I want to get more into it would be Shadows of Estrin.
That's a good one.
I haven't.
But who knows how to run that? You do, Phil? It's so beautiful.
No. Shadows of Estrin is actually my answer.
Was it your answer?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was my top 5. No one knows that this book is so rare. No one's ever heard of it.
Right, it's tough.
So I bought Symbaroum because Shadows of Estrin is just, for me, very incomprehensible. And for a while, I thought they were very similar. I love Symbaroum, so as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know if it's a funny story, but when we first released the English edition of the Symbaroum core book in 2016, I think it was. We actually got a picture from some convention. I think it may have been UK Games Expo, where Chris Birch of Modifius had the creators of Esteren hold up our book and be like, it was so huge for us. It was like, the guys that made Esteren. So I feel you. It is a very atmospheric game, and there are similar dark streaks.
Yes, but I think, and I've not read enough of Esteren. Sorry, Doug, I don't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I think where Symbaroum differs, or at least from my understanding, I picked up Symbaroum thinking it was going to be like Shadows of Estrin, based on people's comments that they're basically the same, but Symbaroum's easier to run. And Symbaroum is just such a different beast because of all the politics and the way that it plays out. We've nearly finished the first book, and it's everything that I didn't know I wanted.
It is. Shadows of Esteren is more romantic.
Yes, that's
right.
The description that I've made of it recently as well.
It's the romantic kind of saga,
in the Celtic,
kind of dark romantic, like vampiric romantic in some gothic kind of way. Symbaroum is not gothic horror at all. It's just pure
folk horror, right?
Folklorish body horror galore. So can I answer now?
I was going to come to you now.
God,
it's going to be super quick. I love probably no one will be surprised. I love the big story arcs, the epic campaigns, and one that I haven't run as a GM is The Enemy Within. You said The Enemy at the Gate, Bruce. Is that the same thing, but the new take on it, or?
I think I'm probably getting just enthusiastic, and it would be The Enemy Within, but Enemy at the Gate, I think, is actually one of the supplements.
I hardly remember, but that one would be super. And then for UL, there are some Swedish big adventure campaigns that are really cool as well, but we don't need to mention them because they haven't been translated. So.
Well, you could always translate them and run them for us on the Dark Orb.
No, there is one called Undergångens Arvtagare that is supposed to be really cool. But then there is Svavelvinter by Eric Gronström, who has done a lot of the lore stuff for our game Forbidden Lands. And then, I mean, there are so many cool games to run, and so little time to run them. And if I was, save the pressure and pain of time for one campaign, it would be The Enemy Within.
I think Svavelvinter, unless I'm mistaken, there was actually an English language quick start for this.
No, that's a totally different RPG.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Svavelvinter, the original one, was made for Drakar och Demoner. Way back.
Yeah. As opposed to as a campaign, not as a...
That's a
standalone
game.
Campaign.
No. Yeah. I've never played Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I hear great things about it.
Playing it now, it's grim. I mean, it's like
I have no love for Warhammer, so it makes it hard for me to find it accessible. The other thing I've got, which is up here, is Master of Nyarlathotep. Which is something that I should probably get to. So Yoel, what's your answer?
I would love to run one of the great campaigns for Call of Cthulhu, but I don't have the time or the dedicated group to do it. If I were to run this one with my bi-weekly group, we would probably be doing it for 5 years.
And you'll still not know anyone's face, right?
Those faces I know, but I don't see them when we play because they are introverts and prefer camera off, which makes it really hard to GM horror games.
Sucks.
And that makes it tough. But anyway, but I can't get them to commit to a single campaign that's going to take 5 years to complete. So I would love to run either Masks or I think I would enjoy Horror on the Orient Express even more.
Yeah.
It's just with horror.
That one is really itching my soul. I want to run it so bad.
The problem
have you listened to the audio theatrical adaptation by I think it's the Lovecraft Society or whatnot. I mean, they run through Masks in 8 hours or something like that. So no dice rolls, of course, but I think you could do it in less than 5 years. If you are
no dice rolls.
It took my little group like 20 hours to complete the one shot, then Gubla Filmen, which is meant to be a convention scenario running a time slot of 5 hours.
Okay.
I can't restrict them like that and shove them through the story because that's not how I GM.
I've got one other game that I'd like to put in, but it's going to be very divisive. I'm going to get so many sneers from this. Are you ready for it?
Sword lesbians?
Let's all guess. Yeah, is it Thirsty
Not
Sword
quite.
Lesbians?
Nope. Nope. Close, but no cigar. It is Invisible Sun.
Oh, Invisible Sun, yeah.
I am right there with you, Jason.
Yeah, we've got that upstairs somewhere.
Yeah. I have my black cube. I feel it looking at me when I have my back to it.
Yeah. Its face follows you around the room, doesn't it?
it's a beautiful set, and yeah,
I never heard of it.
Invisible Sun by Monte Cook.
Yeah,
maybe I don't think so. Let's see.
It's another massive.
Sorry, you go, Doug.
Yeah, I was gonna say just to buy the PDF is like $100.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like it's at least a $500.
I think that's to encourage you to not get it on PDF though.
Yeah, because that's not the way to play it.
The physical copy.
Having
is
said,
important.
Unfortunately, Monty Cook don't give PDFs when you buy their physical products, so you have to buy them separately.
Urban Fantasy.
I did get it in the Kickstarter, so I did get the PDF with it.
Yeah,
but a lot of people didn't.
It looks interesting.
Obviously,
I would say it's very Neil Gaiman, Dave McKean.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
You play as magicians in a sort of urban setting, but it's a very surreal alternative reality. So it's got that
Dresden Files kind of thing.
Not quite. It's more parallel universe.
Anti-Matrix.
Reality is a veil. It's very. You've got the City of Mist, cult, divinity lost, or cult. The reality isn't what you think it is, and there's something else, beyond the veil. And once you wake up from that, you realize that everything you know is a lie. But the reality is super fucking weird.
Yeah, but you live in the veil. So it's not that you peer through the veil. It's like there's a veil and you've stepped through it, and that's now where you live. You don't live in the real world. Well, you do live in the real world because the real world was a lie. So you it's good. It's good stuff. Maybe and I said I agreed with Jason, but that wasn't actually going to be my answer.
No, that's fair.
That would have been one I'm interested in. But I would say Exalted because
Exalted?
Really?
I absolutely love the world. I love the world. I hate the setting. I hate the system, sorry. The system is just like take that system and throw it out the window. Take that world and use Worlds Without Number or Godbound or something like that instead. Sure. Absolutely love that whole setting, but I've owned every single edition of it, and it has never lived up to what it promises to be. It's like
Exalted. I played a campaign of it.
The rule set for me is like they lay it all out. You read all of the fiction, and you're like, oh my god, I get to play like these anime people. And then you play it, and you're like, so how many 100 D10s am I supposed to pick up now?
Yeah. It was ridiculous, dude. I depowered myself. I depowered myself to play again too. We're still too powerful.
No, and that's what role-playing games are all about. I mean, it doesn't become a game until it lands in the hands of someone like you, and turns from a toolbox into an actual game. Because I haven't met a GM ever who didn't make house rules or didn't make. I love that setting. I love that system. Let's merge them. So.
Yeah.
What kind of these rules you're talking
That was
about?
Interesting. That was a spicy choice, Martin. That was a spicy one.
I mean, I love Exalted. I bought all the fiction books. I bought the comics and stuff like that. The world itself, to me, was excellent. But that rule set, man.
I broke it pretty quick.
I had so many of those big, thick rule books, and every time I left so disappointed.
Please remember that someone loves them.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, this is
not just ones who designed them, but actually a lot of players as well. So,
but I actually don't like not running rules as written. For me, it matters to me almost as much as watching a director's cut of a film. If a director's cut of a film is crap and it's a genuine director's cut, then fine, it's a crap film. But I like to think, and I know that this isn't always the case, but that I like to think that the rule set informs how the game should feel and how it should play at the table.
It should.
And therefore, exactly. Therefore, if the rule set is really bad,
I don't trust playtesting. That's my problem.
I'm less inclined to want to play it rather than just transposing it.
I mean, again, that's a personal thing, isn't it? I say that the Exalted rule set is bad for me. I'm not saying it's bad for everybody else. Loads of people play it and love it. I mean, all I can speak from is personal experience. I detested it, but some people really like it, and I'm not casting any judgment there.
You're not saying it's a bad system. It's
they
just
love
not for you.
they love that game. I wish I could.
And there are I don't know, thousands and upon thousands of GMs out there that never runs anything but their own homebrew system. And then they buy source books to, get inspiration for adventures and settings and whatnot. So, but still, Phil, of course, I understand what you are after, and if you can find a way to make a game where the system and the setting informs each other and builds each other, that's of course a very positive thing. But I mean, still, we're back at the same discussion, because some people will still not love the die that the system use, and they I hate D6s, for instance.
What?
And
what?
I agree.
I agree. Matthias, no, you can't say
that. Is not a thing.
Not a big enough range. Not a big enough range sample range.
Wow.
I can honestly say this. When I first opened the Star Wars game from
or D20, by the way,
in Swedish, because Äventyrsspel released it back in '87.
Right.
We opened the box. I bought it. I was so eager to play Star Wars. And all we have seen before were BRP games where you had the entire classic RPG die setup.
Yeah.
And we open up this one, and it's only fucking D6s. D6s were used for Monopoly and
Yahtzee.
It's like
I mean, this is a
RPG.
Look, a common thing with Swedes, though. When you talk to them about RPGs, it's like, is it a D100? Well, it's not really an RPG, then, is it? If it's not, I mean, that's like a common refrain with Swedes. It's like, where's my D100? Where's my D100? Where is it? Is it divisible by 100?
Started to use a D20 in 1985, but it was the same system.
Yeah, exactly. Just divided by 5.
But when we had the D6 in 87, that was most of all, I think most of my generation made a connection that was the old type of games that were not RPGs. Those used D6s. And I really, from the start, what was I, 12? Hated the Star Wars system and modded beyond
I love it.
belief.
I didn't treat a goddamn.
And then now I use it and I love it. I'm playing my little group through Star Wars at the moment, Western Game System, and it works
open licensing. Let's
perfectly.
go. Bring it back.
So one thing that you'll have to realize in my situation personally, like my parents wouldn't let me play D&D growing up. Like, so I have no.
I think that was a good decision, to be honest.
No connection to the dead D20. Like my parents, I grew up in a very strongly religious household. So like my parents thought that I was like, people were summoning the devil and demons when we were playing D&D. And so like we didn't get a chance to play D&D. So when Star Wars came along like that and it used D6s, like my parents were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, it's a D6 game. Like that's no problem." Like that's what I was able to like grab a hold to as an RPG because
it was a board game.
Because they looked at the D6s as not like a typical role playing game, which was weird to think about, but that's what they did, and so that's why I have this affinity to the D6s, and especially the Star Wars West End Games license in that system because that was what my entry point into RPGs, because I wasn't allowed to do. What is Satanic Panic that was Dungeons and Dragons growing up.
Freak flag fly.
It isn't magic; it's Jedi powers.
Right, exactly.
I mean, we played Hero Quest and my parents got flipped out over that. Man, that's like a board game, basically.
It's a board game, yeah. No, so I think it's funny that Yoel is saying the same. Like he's you're basically saying the same thing. Why I was allowed to play it, because of the fact that it wasn't looked at as like a typical role-playing game.
I'm a Shadowrun Master Race D6 man, so it's always been there. I've played so much Shadowrun growing up. Like, it's always in the back. We always had D6s.
I don't think Shadowrun was around back then.
87. Yeah, first edition. All the Larry Elmore art, his weird like cyberpunk art or whatever.
Because Western Games Star Wars was their second game after the Ghostbusters game, right?
Yeah. 1980, I think.
Game introduced the D6 pool system.
No.
Like,
Matthias hates
81.
It. That's all we know. Matthias hates the D6 dice pool system of West End Games.
I just so much dice. Don't. Because when you talk about West End Games Star Wars, it was
94.
One of my absolute favorite games growing up. I love especially the way dogfights with TIE fighters versus X-Wings with those D6s. It was a blast. So no, it was not an expression of my personal preferences. It's just to say, which I'm in today's climate, I think we can't say it often enough that tastes differ, and people may.
I mean, if we're going to hate on dice, I've got to say I still really hate the Symbaroum dice.
Yeah,
the official Symbaroum dice.
What? How can you hate those?
Do they roll bad?
No, they're just
because that's if so, that's they should roll bad. You should die all the time.
I'm talking about the official Symbaroum dice.
Okay.
In the starter set?
In the starter set.
In the starter set.
Okay.
What's wrong?
I love them.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Only because I want something like much more swanky. That's all.
Oh.
I want some.
Oh, you want like something like the Coriolis set, like something that's really
God,
like.
No, I want something I can read.
Oh, you should have seen the first dice sets.
The custom dice sets are kind of like with the symbols on it. Like, it's kind of like.
I keep thinking about
love the Versen one.
Yeah, the Versen are lovely.
We keep going back to Free League.
Stop talking about us.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me.
Symbaroum's
the Avatar and Amber are the places that I spend most of my time when I'm not at work. So this is me being biased, and I would say that regardless of the company that we're keeping this evening. But I mean, I think custom dice are fun.
But don't you think the narrative and the story are much more important than the dice rolls?
I don't care about the dice rolls.
There's only one rule that is important. All other rules can go out the table. No, you and your group should have fun and enjoy it.
Yep. That's true.
That's the only thing that counts. Which means that there are some games that I don't prefer the system for them.
Yeah.
But I can understand that people do.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they are having fun with them, there is nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely.
And this is what really irks me. I mostly hang out on the Swedish boards. There are some people that are so diehard for either one kind of system or very diehard against a specific system, and basically says, if you enjoy this system, then you're a stupid mother. Beep. And it's like, no, I don't enjoy that system, but I can understand that people do. It's not for me, and that's fine, because if everything were to be to my taste, we would have kind of one game working in one way, and food.
And it wouldn't sell.
No,
because no one, because only you would like it.
Yes,
to compare and contrast,
no games.
To compare and contrast, that's Star Wars. When Fantasy Flight had Star Wars, that was terrible. That system was garbage. Whatever those dice and the cards. And
they're still doing that, like with the Edge Studios, but they're just putting out new games.
They put out good source material?
I hope so.
Don't make me buy your cards, man, just to run the game, dude. Like, your little tokens and all your little
cards.
Accoutrements.
Ignore the cards. If you don't want to use the card, don't use the cards.
See,
if you don't want to use the sixes, don't use them.
You don't need the cards.
It's Star Wars, man. I mean, they're going to put out as much merchandise as they can, but you don't have to buy it.
It's not them. It's Fantasy Flight because they want to stay. They want to sell that stuff. They want to sell those little chips.
But
and,
I mean, I played in like the year of Star Wars,
but it's us
I
Modi.
used
So
card once. So.
Anyone noticed that the birthday boy
we scared him away.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You're in charge, Matthias.
That's too real.
Yeah, you've got the middle slot now, so you're in charge.
Maybe we should talk a little about Fria Ligan games. Maybe.
I don't think we've done that enough.
Kickstarting a Robotech game. Robotech I'm backing that, dog.
Yeah, I think I love games that have got dice that are fantastic. But I hate games that have got dice that are specific to that game.
I
don't
like that either. Don't do that. That sucks.
Don't do that. I'll tell you that as just don't do that. Like if you've got proprietary dice for a system and people have to go buy your dice in order to play it, I don't like. That's just no. Make it. The industry is small enough as it is that like why create that hurdle for your purchase for your consumer to go, oh, I love this RPG book, like now I have to go buy the dice to play it. Like that's one more hurdle. Like no, make a game that anybody can pick up and play.
Are there companies out there doing that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean role-playing game.
Yes.
Yeah. The Star Wars system, for instance, is one.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Genesis
could probably
system.
black it, but you're going to need a lot of stickers.
You're going to have a lot of headache trying to do that. It's very specific.
I mean, there's a guide in the beginning of the book that tells you which dice to sub in because they're just different polyhedrals.
Yeah,
so
but
who
wants to refer to a chart all the time? Like I know.
Yeah, it's like this. These dice are very.
Throw it in the garbage. Just turn around, throw it in the trash.
I mean, it's just D8.
Recycle.
It looks like sort of Descent kind of dice.
They do.
My God.
They do
Descent, you have when you get a special weapon, you get.
Yeah, it's very like this.
Eric and I are having the same, like, only Eric's being a little more vocal about it. But just looking at those dice just gives me anxiety.
I'm like, I have to squint and look over the table and count. That's not happening. I'm not doing that.
But I mean, okay, then it's that kind of game. Is that such a bad thing then? I mean,
it slows it down.
If you're going to buy into
combat,
it, you're going to buy into it. It doesn't matter.
Anything that slows combat down is not cool with me. I can't stand that stuff.
I know folks that really love it, and so I'm not going to knock on it. But for me, I don't think that's not what I want to. That's not. I want to be able to just kind of roll and know what I've.
What Eric is saying is that you, dog, are being a little bit,
he's too nice.
Sugarcoating things.
I know the folks at Fantasy Flight and Asmodee. I'm not going to. Stomp all over their product.
We're not getting anybody individually, are we?
What's that?
But there are role-playing games that are more board game-like, right?
Yes.
And there are definitely. I mean, also within one of the same company. I'm not naming any names, but there may be games that are more or less board gamey, because again, people like different, and some obviously enjoy having very special dice that they can't do without when playing the game. So
I don't have a problem with it because I think it differentiates the game, and this comes back to my statement earlier that I like having a system that contributes to the feel of the game. So I don't personally, as someone who spends too much money on games, and as now the perpetual GM, so I spend all of the money on the game, I don't mind it in that it helps me to feel like we're in a different place. And actually having a battle map or the dice or minis that support the world. They don't have to be, minis branded for the game, but specific minis that help paint that picture. For me, it's another narrative tool, and having custom dice, you only have to buy them once anyway, and I'm going to buy the damn book anyway, so an extra £10, $15 is not going to be that much of an impact if I've already spent $80 on the books.
Yeah, but your other players have to also get those as well. They have to have some sort. So you either have to share those dice, or well, you can.
One set isn't really enough for a whole gaming group.
But I don't.
This is for one person playing Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus,
but at the same time,
those players all have to learn like what everything. Like no, like I'm sorry, but like learning a system is hard enough as it is.
I can't speak to the system because I've not played it, but I don't have a problem with it because do you know what? Actually, if I'm going to spend all of my time and all of my money and all of my, free brain power to run a game for you for 6 months or a year, the least you could do is spend the same amount of money that you would on 3 bottles of beer or something to come to the table. It shows,
but when you have dice that are already in your collection, like it just seems
different.
like it's
that's different. That's where you say, do you know what? I've got enough dice to share. If you enjoy it, then get your own. You don't have to. I've got dice.
I mean, if someone ran FFG Star Wars for me, I'd probably just turn up with my polyhedrals and go, "I'll use the alternate rules, thanks." Yeah. I'm not gonna
really
splash out for your ridiculous dice.
But mind, do you not think that if you really loved it and you were playing that game for 6 months, then you might go, do you know what? Actually,
guys, what are we talking about now? We are talking about elegant design, right? Elegant design. You could argue that you should be able to design a game that does not need those very, very special dice. And when someone does, it feels like, well, you could have done that more elegantly.
Right, I agree.
Okay,
there's nothing those dice do that normal polyhedrals don't.
Yeah. So then maybe we have to draw the conclusion that they have some other kind of intention behind that design decision. It may be the greens, but it may also be identity or this is dead game when you use these dice. Or I'm just being the devil's advocate here because I also love games that are
I won't be shifting through the pages for the system for this one, because I fell back to using the D6 system instead. But as far as I understand, the dice help you tell the story. It's not do you succeed, do you fail. They also force you to RP the game, kind of like we do with we play the Powered by the Apocalypse. I prefer role playing. For me, I don't need a system telling me to role play, but this system pushes people to role play, even if they're perhaps out of the comfort zone.
But that's not. You don't have to spend the $10 on those dice, because each of those sides on that dice tells you whether it means despair or advantage or disadvantage. So all you need to do is read a number instead of paying extra for their dice.
Yes,
so
but
it's not very good design.
A symbol is easier to see than a number, because the number is unique. The symbol perhaps isn't. And to be fair, if it was only about the money, they wouldn't hand out a free dice app for it.
When I first ran that, you had to pay for that dice app. So maybe they've made it free now. But originally you had to pay like £5 for it, so like 50 crowns. So maybe they've now made it free.
Now, this turned into RPG Critics panel number 1.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
To the Dark Orb, where we talk smack.
All right, content cop Matthias.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, but the Star Wars RPG that Fantasy Flight put out, they didn't sell PDF copies, like electronic copies.
No.
Why do you think
they're not allowed to?
They're not allowed.
Right. Yeah. So that could also be another reason why
they want you to buy.
They made proprietary dice is another counter pirating again and having people upload PDFs. And
their version of Warhammer Fantasy was so resoundingly rejected by the community. That's why whatever. That's why that game exists, because you open their version of Warhammer Fantasy, all that stuff and the tokens and all of this stuff, and people are like, "Oh, we don't want any of this." And the guy made Zweihander or whatever. and the community went over there, or they play the old version like I do because they don't want to deal with all that stuff. You can have it, like for example, when I run Alien RPG, I love the facehugger dice because I can scan the table and you fail. Okay, that to me helps me out. Like the rest of the size of this dice do not matter. You just succeed or you fail. That having those symbols helps me. Or that dice with the D20 where you hit this part of the body, that helps. But all the little stuff, like I don't know.
But again, you don't need
here's
those.
The thing.
They just help.
It helps. But here's the thing: if people enjoy it, people that are not you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure, if you enjoy it.
To be honest, looking at our little group here, most keep talking about the OSR games or the indie games, and not only that, but we have a similar taste. We are in our bubble of preferences.
Sure, yeah.
We're middle-aged white guys as well.
No, not only that, because a lot of middle-aged white guys prefer D&D and only D&D.
Yeah.
So it's not the system or the age or the bracket we belong to. No. It's our filter bubble. So if we think that this is the correct way to play RPGs, we are quick to
that was exactly... I have had almost a bottle of wine now, or juice, or whatever.
Juice.
So that was the point I was going to make. Fun versus elegant design. I mean, there are people having so much... Okay, let me put it like this. There are super many people having super much fun with games that are not very elegantly designed.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I agree.
we can sit here and on our pedestals and have our... And I enjoy these kinds of discussions. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, in the end, if enabling fun is what we're all about, we shouldn't lose track of that in the discussions.
If you're having fun, you're having fun. I'm just saying, like,
once
for me, like I thought this was the only way to have this kind of fun. Then once I've played better systems, I look back at what I used to go through, and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. Like, oh my god.
Okay,
I had no idea.
But some people might go the other way than you, Eric, and prefer that one. Yeah, the only reason I brought this out is because the question was asked: are there any proprietary dice? And yes, they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. I just wanted to show that they exist.
Yeah, but you do have this with board games and with tabletop, like miniatures games. I mean, and that's fine because actually you accept that as part of the price of playing that game. And I think in role playing, it's slightly unique.
Yeah, that's true.
In that only one person tends to pay for it. Honestly, in any given campaign, the majority of the financial burden is on the person running the game. Also, the majority of the emotional burden, the brain burden, not all of it, but that's what we take on as GMs.
It's true.
I buy players. That doesn't mean that no one else who's coming to the table can contribute, and we all do that in different ways. But there are some people who will bring nothing, not even their own character sheet. Which just makes us as GMs feel fucking amazing. So, what do you mean you don't even know who your character is? Yes, fine. I'll print your character sheet out again.
What I get irritated about is like me. I have to take notes for them to remind them of stuff. Like it's very simple. Like
I never take notes. I'm the worst GM.
It's like, oh my god, dude.
As a GM, I very rarely take notes.
I always take notes.
Yeah, I have a GM notebook that I usually.
I don't have time to stop and take notes. If I do that, then I lose my train of thought.
I do it therapy style, where you have a little pad. I just kind of like jot down as we go, and I go back and organize them at the end of the session.
I'll give the role to a PC.
Wish I did more of.
What's that?
I'll give the role to a player. If
exactly.
You've got a player who wants to do the notes, you can have one extra XP per session, which is brilliant in things like Forbidden Lands.
It's a good idea.
And when it's
I think it also depends if you're
a bit harsh, but there you go.
Yeah, I think it also depends if you're playing a published game. Like I'm very lucky that most of the stuff I'm playing right now is pre-published scenarios. So we've just finished, as I said earlier, we've just finished recording Cult Divinity Lost. It was Gallery of Souls pre-published. There was some kind of tailoring throughout the sessions, of course, but ultimately it's pre-published, and you just need to remember where you are. Seven City of Mist, with Simbrum. These are the main things that I've been running lately. Even Merc Bory. They tend to be published scenarios because I don't have the capacity with everyday life to actually be creative and write my own stuff.
That's the thing with that.
Well, the thing is, if you're writing your own stuff, and it's your own scenario, which is probably going to be at some point written on the fly in your brain whilst you're doing it, then you kind of do have to write stuff down. Absolutely, because it's not necessarily as fully fleshed out.
Well, I run a lot of investigative games, like where you're investigating things, and like I kind of have to know what you found and NPCs' reaction to you accusing them of stuff, and like to keep the story straight in my mind, especially running sandboxes. I mean, that's like, but when I have to constantly like, that's the guy you talked to last game who sold you those explosives. Like, you should know. Come on, guys. Like, that's who that is. Like, I started doing crazy things. I started using color coordination for my NPCs. Like, everyone who has yellow backgrounds, demonic devices to help them not take notes. I gave up with having them take notes. So I'll try to like funny character names, anything, personality quirks, anything I can get them to remember people's names and stuff.
There's nothing like when a player turns around and says, "Oh yeah, we're going to go back to the pub. What was the name of the innkeeper there?" And you're like, Bob?
Yeah, but when we play, I know when you forget. I don't push you too hard on it.
Yeah,
he doesn't fucking know, dude. Let's let it go. It's like, doesn't matter.
And certainly if you're not playing regularly, that's a challenge.
For your innkeeper, I can add the best GM tip ever that makes it feels like you are so super prepared. Have a list of NPC names.
Yeah,
I agree. I do that.
That's all.
I have a generator.
A list of that and write just a quick note. Barkeep.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you have a name to throw on the fly. And especially if you do investigative games, some of the pre-written ones have names for important persons, and then it's Servant 1, Servant 2, Servant 3.
Sure, yeah, I'll do that.
And if you don't have names for Servant 1, 2, and 3, the players will instantly know that these people are insignificant.
Yes, but they're going to be the ones that they latch onto anyway. Oh, well,
they do.
The person over there that's looking at a piece of gardening, they're obviously the secret mastermind. So we're going to have to go and interrogate them. The gardener.
It's like, what was this from? Where's he from? Is he in? Like, I don't know. He's like, move on, please.
What's he wearing? Overalls.
so when I run Mothership, at the very end of the session, I write up a debrief synopsis, like status. This is the last thing you were doing. This is like 200 words what you accomplished, and then the last section is like what you're going here. You got to find these people or do this, like a list of options. So when the game starts, there's no wasting any time. I run 2.5 hour games usually, so it goes like boom, boom, boom. Because when you play online, there's a fatigue level that sets in. Like people start like getting tired of staring at screens. So 2.5 hours is a good amount of time to keep the story going. And if you cut out all the fluff of like messing around, you go right into it and power through it.
Yeah.
Try some GM tips for anybody. That's what I mean.
The one thing I'm going to jump in just with a little bit more, because I'm more probably from the player side than the GM side, and doing a lot with indie gaming. One of the things we're finding, in fact, we're playing a game of Dracula's Dossier at the moment. I mean, you're not using Gumshoe, we're using Fate, because there's a couple of players who have done quite a lot of Gumshoe games, and they have decided no longer to do Gumshoe. But one of the things we do as players to track notes, especially as it's an investigative game, is we're using, going back to VTTs in the comment, we're actually using the tools there. There's mind map boards. We're actually doing our investigation. We talk to so-and-so. We think they're linked to this bit. What's the conspiracy? So we've got this big mind map board, and that's how we're starting to track it. So in the days when we're trying to write notes, I'm a terrible handwriting note taker, and I've still struggled to do it. But I found when we're doing online, to have it, even though you're on phone, you're just tapping or making little diagrams. That's actually a better way as a player to know what's going on in the system. And actually, it goes back to the thing that helps the GM, because the GM's doing a lot of work to try and entertain us. They're playing every single character, and we're tend to just playing the one.
Yep.
Whereas we should really be, it's around the table story we're all trying to tell. It's not just about my characters, it's about where we're going to take this and affect the world.
Oh, I use Discord for that. So on my Discord channel where my games, like I have one channel with NPCs you run into. And I go on Pinterest and get photos of pictures of people, like name them. I have one channel of world building, every kind of keywords. Then I have that channel of debriefing. So like everything you need is on your phone. You're in a car, you're at a bar, you can just pick it up and kind of flip to the game notes, and then just to cut down all that flipping stuff, whatever. I do the same thing though, like whatever it is. Cause I mean, I'm a graphic designer, so like I just like when I'm bored, I'll just build that stuff. Like I'll build portraits and Photoshop stuff, and like my grammar is terrible. That's my only problem. I just type super fast as I'm making spelling mistakes and stuff like that. As long as you're cool with that, it's fine. But
I think it's always good when a GM kind of begins the session by asking players what happened as well, because you can get what the GM where the GM wants to go, but quite often if you approach your players with, well, what happened, then you'll get some little nuggets about what those players actually want to achieve in that session.
Yeah.
And that's always, if you're giving the players what they want, then you're usually getting a session that you're all going to enjoy as well.
I agree.
And also, if we play investigative games, that question is very good to find out what did they actually catch up on.
Yeah.
Right.
That you thought they did, but maybe they didn't.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And one thing we always like to do is a recap from the player perspective, even if I know exactly what we did. Asking the players, hey, so what did we cover last session? Enables others to have a discussion, and then you get a composite picture that's formed by everyone at the table's viewpoint, which is great.
When you run, I mean, I guess you guys not like have done this, but like when you run World Darkness games, oh my God, dude! You have to be just so many NPCs. You have to take notes. Like you pissed because everything is all favors and like people you pissed off and petty vengeance. You're constantly having like where the PCs fall in the middle of that line. So most of the most intensive games that I've run, I mean, massive LARPs, man, like huge. Like I had a whole day of just going through everybody's stuff and like writing their influence requests and like. I mean, yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's just how it is, dude.
What I will say on that basis, though, that I'm really nervous about being at the point when I need to use it, is in the back of the Symbaroum Game Master's Guide is a faction sheet where each PC you record each PC's relationships to basically all of the major factions, and there are so many of them.
You piss them off and they give you stuff or they take it away or something.
Well, I mean, the game is so political and
it's vampire, buddy. That's all.
That sounds cool about it. But yeah, it's amazing how, and maybe that's why I love Symbaroum, because I started with vampire and they're very similar in terms of the political side. But yeah, when you get to a point where you have to track those relationships for each player as well, it's great. But yeah, it's quite daunting.
And Phil, I haven't played or read Symbaroum, so if I ask you like this, then if you were to fuck that tracking up, what would happen?
Just fudge it as GM, right?
I don't think that it would matter in terms of if you've got the right party, the players will know where they stand.
Or just deal with the consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't play a game to finish a story as it's written, because if the story is written, it should end and happen like this, and this is the only way this one should happen. Go read a book.
This is true.
Some people do play like that, though.
Yeah, but also you have to understand that when you are not superheroes.
What's up, Matthias?
And I think Martin's. I think it was you who said something there that, I mean, that faction sheet that you're talking about right now, that's actually a direct response to a portion of players that, because when we designed the system from the start, it was very much a system that didn't have specific rules for resolving social challenges.
Makes sense. Okay.
And then there are those, because we design games the way we want to play them, and we always tend to resolve such social dilemmas through role playing. But then there are a portion of players who like to have, rules assistance for what we would call role-playing, situations or challenges or whatnot. So thank you, Joel, for posing that rhetorical question. In this case, when it comes to Simram, that faction sheet and those rules for you can roll your special characteristic modified by an opposed value if you like, or you can role play the thing, and then you don't need that sheet at all. So it's very much an optional.
But I think actually as a GM it's really useful, because
you give them tools. They use it. They don't use it. Like whatever. Give them tools and.
Yeah.
But no, I think in this particular game, though,
them
there's so
tools.
much happening. Yeah.
Enable fun, and since people tend to have fun in different ways, you offer different sets of tools for different types of players.
Yeah. So for our game, for example, it's deeply political. We're playing a deeply political game of Simram. And it's going to
I think Eric has said something, made fun of me. So I
didn't make fun of you. I said I wish Gasket was in this.
Okay.
No, I don't wish that.
I think one tool that I always found really useful, but if I couldn't remember an NPC's name.
Anyone on Twitch want to clip that?
You can send that over to the crew anytime you want.
He has the raw takes that crack me up with this stuff. Yeah.
Jason,
I was just saying, as a GM, I think one rule that I really kind of got me thinking, or one useful tool, was a phrase I learned very quickly when I ran LARP. I ran Changeling and Ratkin, and both of them are quite chaotic in the players as well.
Holy fuck.
And so occasionally I have difficulty with memory. So when somebody would come up to me and say the name of an NPC and say, I want to go and see so-and-so, and I was drawing a blank, I quickly learned to say, what do you want to talk to them for then? Or what's your goal with them? And it then spurred my memory, if you know what I mean. But it also helps if you forget the
context.
Yeah,
I guess.
Good.
I have to ask you guys. There's one thing I remember from the 80s when I first started playing role-playing games here in Sweden, and I don't know if this is a Swedish thing. I don't know even if Joel will know what I'm talking about, but I remember something that was called the golden rule of role-playing, and it was I think a 2 or 3 step ladder. The first rule of role-playing, according to this set of rules, was that the GM is always right. The second rule was that if the GM isn't right, see rule number 1. Do you remember this? Is this something that was like international?
GM is God. It's quite
some degree.
This has been coming back to me a lot of times during these soon to be 3 hours that we have had this party.
Thank you for complaining.
And
hey, happy birthday to us.
Guys, if the first time it sort of surfaced was when we talked about OSR, but today's old school Renaissance or whatever we call it has nothing to do with those kinds of rules, right? Yeah, there is nothing in today's gaming role-playing games, the hobby today that would abide to those kinds of laws, right?
Perhaps it should be called old school nostalgia.
that or stupidity or whatever.
But I think those are games.
Because now I think we are designers and players are more about the first rule. Everyone should have fun. Yeah. If someone is having a super bad time, you're doing something wrong. That's the telltale, not what the GM says. Right?
There are some people out there that still have that point of view, but they're the kind of people that I generally wouldn't play with. There are quite a lot of. I mean, there are people in gaming that are still producing content. People like John Wick, who are putting.
Don't name names.
Well, I mean, I've read it. I've read his books. I've read his books to inform myself. He's very much of that kind of school of thought. I mean, there are people out there on Twitter that, generally get muted or blocked that will say the GM is God, do what they say. You're there to have fun at the behest of the GM. People still play the game that way.
But I actually think
that's crazy.
If you have a good
old school
GM,
like that.
But if you have a good GM, actually, I would still side that the GM is God, and that the GM, you are there to be at the behest of the GM, with the caveat that it's also the GM's responsibility to be a decent God. And that doesn't necessarily mean always putting the player or a specific player character first. Sometimes you're going to have a shit time, but if your time is so shit that you don't come back, as opposed to my character has been through something harrowing, and as a consequence there is a transformation within the experience, that's different. That's bad GMing. That's got nothing to do with the fact that actually there is one person at the table who actually is holding everything together, and it's their responsibility to make sure that works. So from a purely theological level, I think the GM is God.
I mean, I disagree, but that's because I think everyone around the table is a player, including the GM, and you're all there to have fun.
I agree with that.
One way or another.
I'm more with Martin on that one.
Yeah, but I do think that without the GM there, and this is presuming that we're not doing it so much like a more narrative or collaborative storytelling game, but we're talking about something that has a relatively prescriptive storyline. There is one person who has to make the rules. Yes, you can break those rules, but actually it's that person's responsibility to do that. And it's that person's responsibility to make sure that everyone at the table enjoys themselves. If you start moving away from if you become a committee at a table, then I don't think it's the same experience. And that lends itself to some systems and some games. But on the whole, I don't think that works.
So if I may interject, so in certain systems where it's so life or death, like Alien RPG or something like that, like I will grant you a little bit of am I able to do this? Because if I don't want you to just die and get frustrated. When I people go man, what the God? I measure my success if they're having fun, they want to come back and play. Because it started from those D&D tournaments where it was it's us against the DM, and we got to run these death gauntlets. That's a whole other world, man. We're there was very little RP. You're just rolling up characters and just running through a meat grinder. I mean, if you're having fun, then I get my thrills come from watching the people remember the names of my NPCs, pick up plot points that I put down, stuff like show up on time, ready to play. I don't care if I'm having fun. I have fun if they're having fun.
Yeah, completely.
Because that's a third position, I would argue. You have the GM is God extreme, and then you have an in between where it's collaborative and everyone is equal, and we are doing this story and having fun together. And I don't know if I'm interpreting you wrong, Eric. If
that's right.
So please say so. I would say that there's a third position where the GM, and I'm not saying that this is right, but I think that some GMs, and I think that I tend to be that kind of GM often, take on the role of, in some sense, the one that aim to please, or enable fun, or
the host.
Sorry.
Yeah, host.
I agree. That's where I'm kind of getting to, but you need to have one person responsible primarily for that. Everyone at the table wants to achieve that, but there's one person at the table who is most responsible for that happening when you have a GM-led game.
I mean, I don't feel like in some ways you should kind of take that emotional responsibility on, though. I think it's everyone at the table's responsibility to make the game fun. And I think quite often the GM gets overlooked as a player in a game. That they're doing it because they want to have fun with you, probably because you're a group of friends. And if they're not, then it's just as much the player's responsibility to say, hey, look, let's take the load off the GM a bit. Like, let's get a bit more collaborative. But I mean,
if every
again,
single player at the game is
personal.
having to do that, then potentially the GM is not tailoring the experience very well.
It's rare.
It depends on the kind of game, though. I mean,
most of the guys like Phil, most of the guys I play with in different spheres, they just kind of show up and like, all right, what do you have for me today? It's like, okay, well, let me
but that's what I mean. Is you're sort of you're not there for you are enjoying yourself only if they are having fun,
right?
You are there for them in some sense, and all of those things are, of course, okay. I tend to be most like you, Eric, in the sense that my fun is very much dependent on me designing the scenarios and the story in a way that lets them all have fun.
I mean, you'll have kids,
because that's my job.
I'm going to be cynical once again and say I'm going to fall back to my one rule for RPGs: are you and the players having fun?
Yeah,
because I've had games where we've all been looking at each other and been like, no, we don't like doing this. This is not a fun game. No. We just gotta all agree to have a confession at the table and stop playing.
Play the game in a different way than you do, either as a GM or as a player.
Yeah.
You need to find the group that fits your play style as a GM, and as a player, you need to find a GM that fits your play style as a player.
Yeah.
And
you get to know. You have to know each other, right?
Yes.
Because there are different player types and different individuals that if I play with the GM that doesn't know me, he or she may not be able to set up a game that I will find fun.
Exactly. So from the start you might have what we in Swedish would call a trevare, getting to know each other, feeling each other out, like, is this group for me? Kind of like going on a date. The first sessions will be like that, and then you will know, is this group for me in either of the roles?
Yeah.
And if not, move on. Find a group that plays the way you enjoy the game.
But if you're the GM, Joel, will you, force your style no matter what, or will you try to make sure that all these 4 or 5 people enjoy themselves, even if they seem to like role-playing, a style of role-playing that is not your fancy?
I can do it as long as it's not that far away from my way of playing that I don't enjoy it at all.
I think it depends
very
how long.
Informative for me, I should say.
I think it depends how long you're going to be playing for as well. If it's a one shot or
then
we're going to play a
handle
scenario, then
Then
if you're going to be a campaign,
role players and the dice role players. That's their only thing they want to do is roll the dice and beat a monster.
The role players.
Role player.
Yeah, role players. We call them rules lawyers over here in America, pal. They're out there.
I think the point.
I'll shut them down pretty quick, though.
At the point where you, as a GM, have to role play being a different GM, that's no fun for me.
You can do it for a while to finish off a session in a good way, sure, but you don't want to play an entire campaign like it, because then it's not enjoyment, then it's work.
Yeah. So I think
a group that plays the way you enjoy, you should all enjoy it, and if that is arguing about rules. If you enjoy a session where you argue about the rules, should you roll a d20 or not? What is difficulty level of throwing a carbine hook up on the wall? If you want to argue about that for 30 minutes and you enjoy the session, then do it.
Exactly. So coming back to a question that Doug asked right at the beginning, there was a question of what advice would we give, or would I give to people when first starting out in content creation? And I think the same goes for role playing, which is play to enjoy what you're doing, be authentic, be yourself at the table, surround yourself with people that want you to be yourself and that enjoy you being you. If you can pull that off and find, and it's not always easy, find people that will embrace you for who you are, then no matter what you're going to do as a hobby, it's worth it. And success is measured in the people around you wanting to spend time coming back and doing that again.
Yeah,
I agree.
So with that in mind, we've been talking for 3 fucking hours.
I was just going to say, you sound a little bit tipsy.
I'm actually sobering up now.
Yeah,
I was quite drunk for a little while, but it was about 20 minutes ago.
You were so loving that I thought, because in Sweden that means you're super drunk.
I'm really lovely when I'm tired. It's just when I'm wide awake that I turn into an arsehole.
Oh my God! You get better mize, Phil. You get romantic. You get better mize.
Only for the Americans.
No, it's midnight here in
I was going to say, Matthias, this is way past your bedtime.
Yeah.
Nah, it's Friday night, so it's okay.
It's Friday night, and you're a grass widower.
Yeah, I'm a grass widower.
What was the result of your hockey game? Have you looked yet?
No, I haven't. I don't want to.
Well, I can tell you probably lost.
Yeah,
but considering
our team in the NHL, Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah,
you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan?
Yeah, me and Phil alike.
I like the Blue Jackets and I like the Blues.
So while I was at Origins, I wanted to go to a Blue Jackets game and nobody wanted to go with me, so I wasn't going to go all by myself. So next year we're definitely going to go.
But isn't that off season?
No, it was preseason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Next year.
Yeah.
Next year,
I'll try and come.
Come to Origins. We'll go. We'll hit a hockey game.
I need to get me some free league tickets. I need to get on that bandwagon.
Nobody wanted to go to a hockey game. I'm like,
my only issue with NHL games is it's like £9 million to get like 100 meters away from the corner of the edge of the seats outside the rink.
It was super. Yeah, I could get super close tickets. They were like third row seats, Matthias, and nobody wanted to go. And they were only like $17 US.
Well, me and Matthias can actually wear our Blue Jackets jerseys.
Yeah,
Blue Jackets jerseys.
That's one of the strange things I found in this cowboy from Wales.
Wales.
I mean, from Britain or whatever.
Well, I'll take Wales. Better than England.
I found hockey. You're not the biggest fan, but the fact that he's got a jersey, a Columbus Blue Jackets jersey, is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Blue Jackets and I like the Blues. And most of my colleagues are huge fans of the Bruins. Yeah.
It's pretty late, but I can feel the number of views dropping.
Oh yeah, it's totally
for every second we talk about hockey.
Yeah. I mean, we've lost 2 live viewers the moment we started. Oh no, it's gone back up again.
Kickstart your hockey.
Yeah. What we need role playing
channel
hockey game.
The Dark Puck.
Yeah.
You go on there and.
And I will say very quickly, I did look at what was crowdfunding right now. There's very little that we haven't already talked about.
Robotech RPG.
Robotech RPG is the only RPG, and then that I wanted to talk about at all. Oh. And then we've got Too Many Bones and Unbreakable, and Awaken Realms, Lords of Ragnarok.
The new HasLab project that just launched while you were live is the Star Wars Black series Rancor. Did you see this? This thing is like.
Have you got the link?
42 inches long. 42 inches from tip to tip. It's huge. I don't.
Tip to tip, baby.
Where it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know what they're charging for it. Do you know how much they're charging for it?
Let's find out. Hang on. I'll bring it up on the screen.
Because PulseCon is going on right now.
It's relevant. So let's Chrome tab. There it is.
It's like 17 inches high, like 42 inches long. Like when you.
No, it's not taking me straight to that, but let's see products.
I saw it.
Yeah, it's under the Haslam.
Should we just do sort by price? So you can't do sort by
No, I don't even think it's under. I don't think it's under those pre-orders, Phil. There it is, right there.
There it is.
Back the campaign. How much is the campaign?
It's like $400.
Yeah, forget that.
I haven't even painted it. Look, I mean that's just lazy.
No, I mean, well, they probably will. They'll probably have a. They'll probably have like color.
Yeah.
You know.
What else do they have in their expensive? Layer Organa lightsaber.
Yeah, they revealed all this stuff earlier on stream.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
That is actually pretty smart. I like that.
That's the Unicron Galvatron figure, yeah.
But, you know, you have to have Unicron, otherwise what's the point?
Yeah.
Matthias is like, now, Transformers, what a load of crap.
Nah, I'm just thinking that people like different.
Yeah.
Very diplomatic.
I like transforming robots.
Yeah, I do too.
That's
what I grew up with.
Me too.
Oh, that
Soundwave on deck.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It's been fun. I think here is a good organic place to call it a night. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined.
Yeah, safe journeys, people.
Those of you who have joined in the stream. So Andy, obviously, unfortunately, the dear departed Andy.
One last thing too before we split here.
Go.
My buddy Joel Hines' ability considered unusual for Mothership. He's like 20 grand in 4 days or something like that. It looks really good. That just launched not too long ago. So anyway,
is that on Kickstarter?
Yeah, check out his. We have time. You'll check out his intro video. He really set me a high bar for me. So like I gotta put the pressure on me now. It's like
so if that's recently launched, then let's cover that next week. Let's cover that next Friday. Let's do some deep diving on that. But yeah, because I had a quick run through. I couldn't spot anything super obvious that wasn't 5th edition, and if it's not Ruins of Cimbrum, I'm kind of not interested. And even then, you know, it's just going to sit on the shelf looking pretty.
Even people paying 5th edition might enjoy what they do.
Yeah, this is true. Absolutely. It has been an amazing show. Thank you to Andy, as I said. Thank you to Eric. Thank you to Bruce, Matthias, Doug, Martin, Jason, Yoel. Really appreciate it. It's been a really fantastic first birthday. Technically, it's our birthday tomorrow. Thank you.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say for Matthias, it's already
for you. It is. Yeah. So that means, do you know what, Matthias? That means you can have a drink.
Oh, thanks.
He's like, bottle number 2, baby.
In terms of people that have watched us live, Neil, Martin, Yoel,
Jason,
Bruce,
Doug.
I know. I believe
Mohammed. Thank you,
Richard, Mohammed. My good buddy Alex. And is that everyone? There's probably some more. Raggle G. I'm just going to call you Raggle G because I've got no idea what to actually. November, good to see you. Thanks very much for watching. We should be back next Friday. But I should probably point out that Monday, 6 p.m. UK time, that's 7 p.m. CEST. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We start our daily Cult Divinity Lost Gallery of Souls, a week of Cult. Between an hour to an hour and a half per episode every day, finishing on Halloween. And thank you, Garrett. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so it's been. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. It's been really fun to record. Really will appreciate your comments on that, and we'll try and join you for some of those as they get released. We'll be back on Friday for another live show. And until then, thank you everyone for joining. And in the meantime, I hope your dice rolls are way better than mine. Take care, everyone.